hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so it's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking vampires don't settle old scores, we harbor them. We're talking I'm an Episcopalian, and we're talking straight washing the Vampire Chronicles. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking Jesse.
Boo.
The most important character in Anne Rice's Queen of the Damned, clearly.
Jesus
but
Christ.
Yes, everyone, we are discussing Michael Rymer's Queen of the Damned, a choice of an adaptation, I guess we will say.
Let's just say I've been looking forward to your production history all week because here's the thing. I will come out early on and say, I don't think that this movie is terrible. In some ways, it's a campy delight because it's just a bit of a giant clusterfuck. Mm-hmm. But I am perplexed as to why they thought that this was going to work.
I have a lengthy production history for us, Joe. I was not aware of how much information I was going to be able to get because this was my first time watching this movie.
Yes.
And I knew about it. I knew what people didn't like about it. But I guess I always just thought, just like, whatever. We made it, didn't work, we got rid of it. There were a slew of decisions made that fucked this movie over. But at the end of the day, I mean, if y'all want to skip ahead and just go straight to the plot at the 40-minute mark of this episode, you can just chalk it up to Suits, the studio. Like, Suits in the studio did not know what they were doing.
Yeah. And it feels like they truly underestimated the fandom, which is wild because we have already been through Interview with the Vampire. So it's like, you would have thought they would have learned some lessons. But as a quick aside, folks, part of the reason that we are covering this right here and now is not because it's an anniversary. It's because this is tying into season 3 of AMC's Interview with the Vampire, also known as The Vampire Lestat, which we are covering over on the requel tier of the Patreon.
Yes, and boy, oh boy, I can already tell y'all that show is definitely better than this movie.
Wow.
I will say though, Joe, I mean, I didn't hate this movie.
No.
It is forgettable. It's pretty silly, and it's very clearly trying to adapt too many things at once because nothing really sticks. But I was entertained.
That's the thing, is you can have fun with it. I will confess, when I was looking up the plot, it's a bit nonsensical because a bunch of shit just happens. I kept writing in, how do these characters know each other? What is the relationship? How come we've just jumped over this? Which is not a good way to watch the movie. But if you read other people's reviews, like if you say Queen of the Damned gay or Queen of the Damned queer, and you start to look up, people have a lot of fucking fun at this movie's expense online, so I have a couple of very funny reviews to link to in the show.
Okay, yay, I'm excited. Well, let's jump into this production.
Do it. You know what? Fly into it with some kind of residual lingering image of yourself, as we are apt to do in this film.
This fucking blur effect in this movie.
I love it. It's so bad.
It's so of the time.
Yes.
I remember the first time I caught this effect was in something like Resident Evil Apocalypse, which would have come out 2 years after this. But it was a very common trick.
Yes.
That sounds like it's a good thing. But of this time period, basically. I hate it so fucking much.
Yeah, honestly, it feels cheapy video game / badly directed music video.
Yep.
Which, for the time...
Apropos.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, so Interview with the Vampire, directed by Neil Jordan, was the 10th highest grossing movie of 1994 and earned 2 Oscar nominations. Everyone, we do have an episode on that from the early years of our show, so...
Yes, we do.
Go listen to it. But, the Anne Rice novel on which it was based had been published in 1976, and that was followed by 2 sequels in the 80s, 1985's The Vampire Lestat and 1988's The Queen of the Damned, not just Queen of the Damned. I know, gotta add the. So, okay, why didn't Tom Cruise return to play Lestat? Why wasn't The Vampire Lestat adapted before Queen of the Damned? And why did it take 8 years to make a sequel?
I don't know, but I'm hoping you're going to tell me.
I will. But I do want to point out that when Interview came out in 1994, 4 books had been written for the Vampire Chronicles.
Okay.
By the time Queen of the Damned came out in 2002, 8 books had been released, with the 9th book, Blackwood Farm, released 2 months after this film.
Okay. My ma'am, Anne Rice, was very prolific.
Yeah, y'all, there are 13 books in this series that go all the way through 2018.
Wow. Okay. And I'm assuming that's around the period when she dies, right?
She died in 2021. But so I don't know if the 13th one was written as a final entry or if it just is because Anne Rice is no longer with us. But I don't know. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to have some names for you with this, Joe. And I'm going to try to do my best to kind of like stick with them. So
sure.
Former WB executive Lorenzo Di Bonaventura said that they did Interview with the Vampire, and at that point, he became aware after they did it, I guess, that they had control of the vampire Lestat.
Okay, so that's the second book.
The second book. Channing Dungey, the former Warner Brothers producer and current CEO of Warner Brothers Television Studios, said that there were plans for Neil Jordan to do The Vampire Lestat as the next film, but that didn't come together. And I do have the reason why, and it's a very simple answer, Joe. So,
okay.
In 2024, Jordan did an interview with Variety where he said, "I was asked to write a script of The Vampire Lestat, which I did. And quite simply, Tom Cruise didn't want to reprise the role. It was as simple as that." He also says that Tom Cruise, quote unquote, wasn't doing sequels at this time. I guess this is before Mission Impossible 2.
And also Maverick and all bunches of other things.
Well, yeah, okay, but like Maverick is like, would you say Maverick?
I know, much later, but it's just one of those things where you're like, sir, if the money is right, you do sequels.
I know. Well, it's also a thing where I'm like, I can't believe he wasn't contracted into sequels for this when they made the first one. But I guess that shows that they weren't thinking about making this a franchise. They were just like, we're going to do the first one and that's it. Yeah,
I wonder if they truly just, and I cannot remember our discussion from back in the day on that first film, but I wonder if they were just like, yeah, there's a big fandom for this, but also we're going to test the waters. We're only going to really do the first one. And then they realized, oh, fuck, we should have locked everybody in.
It doesn't really sound like the people at Warner Brothers really gave a shit, honestly. So
no.
A sequel was effectively killed, and here's a familiar tale. The rights to the novels would revert back to Anne Rice at the end of the year 2000. So,
okay.
Talk of officially adapting one or both of The Vampire Lestat and The Queen of the Damned began in 1998. Producer Jorge Saralegui, who had just left Fox, where he'd been an executive, but he became a producer at Warner Brothers in 1998. He was given a copy of The Queen of the Damned, by...
Please.
by Warner Brothers executive Courtney Valenti, who's still there now. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I should say, I am pulling all of this from a really great oral history that Vulture did in 2021, written by Matthew Jacobs.
Okay. Shout out to Vulture, because honestly, they're one of the sites that I used to get for free, and now they have, like, you've unlocked one free article this month or something. But I will say, I think it's still among one of the better media sites. So, like, if you have a couple of dollars to throw at one place, Vulture's a pretty good place to do it.
And honestly, by the quality of this oral history, yes, wholeheartedly agree with that. So
there we go.
Anyway, so Saralegui, this producer who left Fox and went to Warner Brothers, he read Queen of the Damned and was like, okay, well, I see why this hasn't been made. It's because there's really no movie in that book. You cannot distill it into 2 hours.
Okay.
To which I say, yeah, that's great. So why would you also skip the second book and then distill this unfilmable book into a 2-hour movie? I'm sorry, a 97-minute movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, while these discussions are going on, Australian director Michael Rymer, who would become most well-known, I think, for directing the Battlestar Galactica miniseries reboot thing.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So he's brought into the conversation because his first film, 1995's Angel Baby, a romance about 2 people with schizophrenia, got quite a lot of attention. And he came over to Hollywood, he was pitching all around, and basically he would get asked, well, what do you want to do? And he said that if he could do anything in the world, he would like to remake Dune or adapt The Vampire Lestat.
Wow. Okay, but also You said the vampire Lestat. So how do we get from that to the fucking Queen of the Damned?
So he got a deal at Warner Brothers to develop it. So I guess from this point on, this is like in 1998, like he is involved now from going forward.
Okay.
And he wanted to do the vampire Lestat. So
right.
Sarah Legge read The Vampire Lestat, I guess after reading Queen of the Damned, and came up with a proposal that combined both books. And
big mistake already, right there.
Very well, and here's the thing, y'all. The interview with the vampire book is just shy of 400 pages. Each of the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned are over 500 pages. So why you would try to condense them into one story for film doesn't make any sense to me. But
yeah, unless they truly don't think that there's enough interesting things in one, so you combine them so that you can get one solid movie premise. But I'm going to gather from the results that we have in this film, but also from the legions of Anne Rice films, that this is a huge misunderstanding of the source material.
Very much so. So while Sarah Legge and Rymer are like, yeah, we're going to combine the two, whatever, here we go, that executive Courtney Valenti basically said, and I quote, "Look, we don't really want to do the Vampire Lestat. We would rather just do Queen of the Damned." And Rymer flat out asked him, how can you do the third book if you haven't done the second? And he fought to focus more on the Vampire Lestat, but he clearly lost that fight.
Yeah. Okay. So, Suits 1, Rymer 0.
And truthfully, I don't know why they didn't want to just adapt it. The only thing I can think of, truthfully, is that Lestat is a rock star in both books. But because Vampire Lestat is mostly a flashback book, I can only think that they were like, okay, we don't want to A, have the sequel actually be a stealth prequel, and B, we'd rather focus on the rock star aspect because we can make a lot of money off of a soundtrack that way.
Yes, because don't forget, folks, this is something that's very, very different nowadays. But in these times, part of your ancillary markets or your promotional tie-ins were things like, yeah, sure, obviously toys and books and other things like that. But a movie fucking soundtrack could make a mint.
Oh, and I'm sure this one did. But, okay.
Yeah.
Enter co-screenwriter Scott Abbott, who got a call that Sarah Legge and Dungy wanted to send him the Queen of the Damned book to see what he would do with it. And okay, Joe. He was really taken with that book's heroine, Jessie.
No. You know what? Strike number 2.
Again, I have not read the book, but Jessie is the worst part of this movie, hands down.
Oh, yes. No shade to the actress, who I think you and I both, well, I like her a little bit more than you. I know her a little bit better than you, but what the fuck is this role?
What do you know her from? Because I know her and like her in Wet Hot American Summer.
Okay, I like her and know her from that, obviously. That's her most prominent role to date. But apart from that, she was also in this really great one-and-done YA show called Life as We Know It, which also stars one Kelly Osbourne.
Yes. Okay, well, maybe we like her equally. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think she's necessarily bad in this movie. She just has absolutely fuck all to work with.
It's a terrible character.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody being able to rescue this character or do something interesting with it.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. It is a writing problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Abbott was taken, yes, with Jessie and with the Talamasca, which wasn't included in the adaptation of Interview with the Vampire.
Right, yes, because we've been having this conversation over on Patreon because we're a couple of episodes into The Vampire Lestat because we have screeners. But the way that we use the Talamasca is always interesting. It varies from text to text. And of course, there was that one season TV show that they tried to make happen, didn't really work. It'll be interesting to see if they sort of fold some of that into the show moving forward. But this movie also seems to fundamentally misunderstand what to do with them, because I think if you hadn't read the books or you weren't familiar with these more contemporary texts, this movie, I'm just so what are they? It's a school with one person in it?
I mean, I was going to say the Talamasca needed their own property to be introduced, but as we saw with that show last year, that didn't really work out. But
yeah, maybe they're just not interesting enough. Anyway,
not to be their own story, but which again, Anne Rice never had a book about the Talamasca. They're just there in these Vampire Chronicles and Mayfair Witches books.
Okay.
So, but okay, so he liked all that and he goes, okay, well, they don't want to do Vampire Lestat. Let me try to combine these two books together. So he went in, he met with Sarah Legge, Dungy, and Rymer and said, look, we're going to combine the two, but we'll just do a smaller chunk of Vampire Lestat. And by the time he got home from that meeting, he got the deal. So
okay.
Abbott is quick to chime in that Anne Rice wasn't involved at all with the writing process of this movie. Shocker. And that while he did feel trepidatious on a personal level about combining two of her books into something that they were not, he admits that adaptation often demands that, and continued by saying that his co-screenwriter Michael Petroni did a quote-unquote beautiful job bringing it home.
Okay, well, let's agree to disagree on that fact. And yeah, again, let's acknowledge that a lot of the time, the author of the source material is not involved in writing the screenplay. This is not something that's new for Hollywood. However, I think everybody can see where they're going wrong. And I do think even getting Anne Rice's sign off on something, like she was so instrumental in that first film. I mean, she still had her own problems with it, and she came around on certain things, like the casting of Tom Cruise. But at the end of the day, I would not want to piss off Anne Rice.
Well, and also, remember, Anne Rice is the credited screenwriter on Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, shit. Is she? Okay.
Now, Neil Jordan did do a lot of, like, reworking with her, but it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, he didn't do enough to get a credit or something. But yeah, she is the credited screenwriter. So,
okay.
Displeased with the lack of progress over the years, and more particularly with the studio's lack of consultation with her over the script development, Anne Rice wrote a very critical reply to a fan's question about the potential sequel to Interview with the Vampire in August of 1998. And I'm going to read this thing in its entirety because...
Oh, she's a writer. Does she not mince words?
Yeah. So she says... The key factor is that the entire vampire contract terminates in the year 2000. All the properties revert to me at that time, unless production commences, principal photography that is, before then. I don't think it is possible for Warner Brothers to develop anything in that amount of time.
Challenge accepted, unfortunately.
No. They have not been receptive to me or to my ideas at all. Not very long ago, less than a year ago, in fact, so this would have been like 1997, maybe early 98, I begged the executives there to let me write a script for the Vampire Lestat for union scale, as the Writers Guild won't let you write it for free.
Right.
And a deferred payment not due until the release of the picture. They simply were not interested. It was very painful for me, as I had been talking to a new director they'd hired, and we were both excited about the idea. I don't know who this director was.
Oh, so we don't know if that was Rymer?
We don't know. I don't think so. Or actually, maybe it is. It's just the way she phrased this, it sounds like, oh, that director wasn't the one that wound up directing the film. But maybe it was.
Okay, yeah.
She continues, I felt snubbed and hurt and have not bothered to approach them since. Actually, I think you're right, Joe. The young director is supposed to be developing The Queen of the Damned, which I think is a bad idea and basically a doomed project. In spite of their showing no interest in me as the screenwriter, they have not been able to find one themselves for this bizarre idea of The Queen of the Damned. I'm not too surprised. I think any respectable scriptwriter would be crazy to tackle that novel without having fully developed the background story of Lestat. Warner Brothers, in the meantime, has been having a string of financial failures. They have terminated the employment of Billy Gerber, the principal executive with whom I had dealings. They are not in good shape as a studio. Anyway, that is where it is.
My God. Not dragging them out into the streets and flouncing their terrible track record in terms of finances and projects.
But, okay, so here's the thing, though, because the next part of my production is this, and now I'm thinking, okay, this must have been the thing. So, a script was written, but the movie still hadn't been greenlit yet. And before they cast anyone, and before they greenlit the project, Warner Brothers flew Rymer to New Orleans to meet with Anne Rice. And this was the weekend of the 6th annual Vampire Ball. She was going to be signing autographs in a coffin, but Rymer said she was quite... Yeah. But Rymer said she was quite open and just excited that after quite a few years, they were going to do something. So I think maybe I did this out of order. So maybe this happened. And then when they greenlit the project after this whole thing, that's when she made this post on her website.
Maybe. Yeah. Because I imagine she was probably, yes, excited that the project was finally moving forward. But then also, oh, wait, how are you doing this? Why are you doing it this way? I don't know.
Exactly. So while all this was going on, and still before casting began, the suits at Warner Brothers told Doug Frank, the former president of music operations at Warner Brothers, to put all of his energy on the soundtrack.
Oh, boy. So we're not making a movie, we're making a soundtrack.
That's the thing. And I think that's why they wanted Queen of the Damned, because they were like, we don't give a fuck what the movie is. We want that soundtrack.
Right, yeah. The Vampire Lestat is too much historical flashbacks, and we don't want to go back to 18th century France. Like, we've already done a period piece. Let's bring it into the present so we can do rocker shit.
Yes. So, composer Richard Gibbs said that his agent called him up and said, hey, do you know the band Korn?
Which in this time period, if you did not know the band Korn, it's like, are you Lestat? Have you been sleeping for 100 years?
Yeah, so he is told that the singer from Korn, Jonathan Davis, is interested in getting into film scoring. Would you meet with him? And Gibbs said he was immediately taken with Davis's attitude, which wasn't the expected, like, I'm a rock star, let me write some music. He was genuinely interested in learning the craft of film scoring.
Okay, yeah. Go white man with dreads. Yay.
Yeah. Now, after failing to secure a gig doing the music for the remake of Gone in 60 Seconds, they got the offer for Queen of the Damned. And the wild thing is, maybe not so wild, but the powers that be wanted the songs before they cast the movie. So the songs, It wasn't just, we're going to start developing the soundtrack. It's like, no, we want the songs first.
Which... part of me is like, okay, so they're thinking about how is the music going to incorporate into the narrative. I'm imagining they already had an idea of what the script would look like because they've already had these two screenwriters taking a crack at it. But it's still just in my mind. I'm like, no, you're doing it in the wrong order. It's
100%.
like, this is not the way that you prioritize the project.
Yeah, so the idea was that whatever Davis and Gibbs came up with for the vibe of the music was going to set the tone for the whole movie. But then I'm like, is Rymer involved in these conversations?
Yeah. Like, is the Korn frontman just off making music for a movie that has only been greenlit but doesn't have a script? And it's like, cool, I guess based on that song, we're gonna make a whole movie.
Remember, we're still not greenlit yet.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
How are these people getting paid?
I don't know how I'm not going to pretend to know how these deals work, John.
No.
I don't know. But basically, WB only wanted them to write 5 songs for the movie, not the score. But as I said, Davis was really interested in getting into score work, so he wanted to do the score too, wanting the themes from the songs to be integrated within that score. But
which at least would make sense.
Exactly. But you may notice, well, not you or me, but more musically locked in listeners out there, that Davis, the Korn singer, doesn't provide the vocals for the songs he wrote in this movie. Why is that, you ask, Joe? Well, his record label, Sony, wouldn't sign off the rights to his voice to record for Warner Brothers. They said,
really?
Well, he can sing in the movie, but not on the soundtrack.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Warner Brothers suggested that they use their own artists and they'll sing Davis's songs. So Davis said, fine, at least I get to work with friends like Linkin Park's Chester Bennington, rest in peace, and Orgy's Jay Gordon.
Okay.
So that's basically the thing. Whereas like Davis wrote a bunch of songs to this movie and all these other like famous singers sang the songs.
Right. And folks, just in case you're like, wait, what? He does provide the singing voice for Lestat in the film. It's just that if you pick up the soundtrack, you're not going to hear him on that.
Yeah, because that's not Stuart Townsend singing. Shocker.
No.
Okay. Anyway, once this deal was done, then Warner Brothers decided to move forward with casting. Because we're still not greenlit yet. We're waiting until we cast. But Joe, okay, let's start with Akasha.
Okay.
Rymer had a number of meetings with various actresses, including Cher.
No.
To the point where he drove out to Cher's Malibu house and met with her to talk about being Akasha in Queen of the Damned.
I mean, sure. Let's focus on the fact that this is Cher from, 27, 28 years ago, but still no. No.
If this was 1998, maybe 1999, this is right after Believe made it big and like catapulted her back into superstardom. I mean, she already was a star, but the early 90s for Cher were kind of played with not a lot of hits and some flops. So like Believe was like the biggest success of her career at that point.
Okay, but like you can't cast the woman who just released Believe in a movie that's going to have a soundtrack dominated by fucking Korn and Linkin Park. Like, what are we thinking?
Well, but here's the thing. So, okay. Rymer had a very strong belief that if they were going to use African queens as inspiration for Akasha, they would probably have to have a person of color in the role. So,
I mean, Okay, somebody's starting to get it.
Which it doesn't sound like, and again, y'all, I haven't read the book, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like Akasha is described as a person of color in the book.
Okay.
But Rymer said all this to the studio, and they made a list that included people like Halle Berry and Regina King.
Okay.
But Warner Brothers happened to have Aaliyah in Vancouver shooting Romeo Must Die, and they were really excited about her as a burgeoning actress. So they were like, we really want you to use her. So they kind of, I'm putting quotes around it, forced her on Rymer. But that's not to say he didn't want her. It's more so it's weird we're going from like Cher to Halle Berry to Aaliyah. But again, because Aaliyah didn't have much of a track record with acting outside of Romeo Must Die, which was still in production at this point.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, she's actually pretty solid in that film. Spoiler alert, I actually think she's pretty solid in this film. It's just that she doesn't get enough to do. But yeah, I guess if they hadn't been able to see what she was capable of, it might just look like, wait, are we just casting a hot R&B singer?
Mm-hmm. Which, again, doesn't really line up with Korn either, by the way.
No, but at least she's like, I think you could make the argument that metal and R&B are a little bit more in lockstep than pop and metal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Rymer went to go meet with Aaliyah, and he was frank with her, saying, look, I'm very serious about this, but I need to know that you can pull this off for your sake as well as mine. So will you go through a process with me before I say to the studio that I think this will work? And she said, yeah, absolutely. Like, I am aware that I am not known as an actress. So he put her through the ringer. He got her to learn a monologue from Oscar Wilde's Salome, and then had her separately working on Egyptian accents. So by the end of this entire process, he had her reciting Oscar Wilde in a very exaggerated Egyptian accent, crawling around on her knees like a calf. And with that, it was a done deal. He was like, you know what? Yes, you're good.
If nothing else, she's committed. I will say one of the things that people take issue with in this film is that accent. Not everybody loves it.
Yeah, and I mean, that wasn't her choice. That was definitely a director's decision.
Yeah.
Now, for Lestat, screenwriter Abbott said that when he came on board, it was pretty common knowledge that this was going to be a whole movie that was going to stand separately from the first one.
Okay.
There was talk about Wes Bentley as Lestat following his breakout role in Sam Mendes' American Beauty, which I believe was 99.
Yes.
But he declined. There wasn't a reason given, but they were saying that he seemed to be overwhelmed with his newfound stardom.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody really expected American Beauty to do what it ended up doing. God, that is, it's so frustrating to me because I actually really love American Beauty. I recognize now it's very Oscar baity, but in the kind of accessible to regular audience kind of way. But like, I can't fucking watch that movie anymore because of goddamn Kevin Spacey.
It is hard, but I mean, to be fair, doesn't he die at the end of the movie?
He does, so I guess that's your silver lining.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, American Beauty is a very Oscar-baity film, but it's like a very, what you're saying by it's very mainstream friendly, like it's very entertaining at the same time. Like I admittedly haven't revisited it recently, but I know its reputation has declined over the years, not just because of the Kevin Spacey bit, but because I think just the general content of the film hasn't aged particularly well.
Yeah. I mean, I just love it that you can watch that movie and understand cinematography. Like, how does lighting work? How does editing work? It's a very teachable film in terms of this is how you create mood, tell your story, and that kind of stuff. Like, technically, it's such a well-executed film.
I mean, I think it's well written too, but anyway. They also met with, for Lestat, they met with Ryan Reynolds and Heath Ledger.
Oh, you know what? Heath Ledger would have pulled this fucker out.
I agree, but the studio decided that neither were big enough because, again, we're still like this is probably
okay. Wait. Neither. Okay, I recognize that neither one of them are super big, but we're saying they're not big enough when we go with Stuart fucking Townsend.
I know. So, because I had to look, because 10 Things I Hate About You would have been 99, so that would have been Heath Ledger's breakout. But I feel like Ryan Reynolds' breakout was Van Wilder.
Yeah, it would have been after.
Yeah.
I think Van Wilder is like 2001.
2002. Actually, it's the same year as Queen of the Damned, which is so what? Oh, because he was known for Two Guys and a Girl. That's why.
Yeah, and that's not it. That's not going to get you this role.
No, because again, this is the time period where TV doesn't equal film stardom.
No.
But to be fair, Ryan Reynolds would star in his own vampire film 2 years later in Blade Trinity.
Previous episode, everybody.
What brought them to Stuart Townsend? And again, to defend your point, Joe, you're right. Like, what is this? It was a performance of his in a stage production of Tennessee Williams' play Orpheus Descending. His co-star, by the way, being Helen Mirren in that production.
Okay. So she elevated him is what we're saying.
Well, apparently his performance in that was absolutely riveting. And more importantly, he seemed to have this effect on women that was palpable. And lucky for them, this is what it is. He had just become available after being fired from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings the day before principal photography was set to begin because he was supposed to be Aragorn.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said that because that's literally how I knew him. I was like, this is the guy who doesn't get roles, and then when he does get roles, he's fucking terrible at them.
I knew him at this point as Mr. Charlize Theron because he was in this movie that I talked about with you a couple times called Trapped, where Kevin Bacon and Courtney Love kidnap Stuart Townsend and Charlize Theron's daughter, played by Dakota Fanning.
Oh, good cast.
That was 2002. Didn't get good reviews. I really like it, but whatever.
Okay.
My introduction to Courtney Love, by the way, I had no idea who she was before that movie.
I mean, you wouldn't.
I do want to point out, though, that Townsend declined to take part in Vulture's oral history after they made several attempts to schedule an interview.
I mean, I imagine this one stings. I don't know enough of his acting abilities. I just know him from this movie. I think that this consumes him. Like, it's not that he's terrible so much as it's just, you can tell that he's not a good fit. He should not have been given this role.
You know, I think he has some charisma, but again,
I mean, he's hot. Let's make it very clear. He is really fucking hot and he looks great in leather pants, but that's not enough to get you the lead role.
The failure here for me, again, is the screenplay for this. Like, I don't think he's given enough of an opportunity to really be as charismatic as Tom Cruise was in that first movie. But, of course, the elephant in the room, like one of the most popular bisexual heroes of popular fiction is Lestat. And in this movie, he's given a romantic relationship with a female character with whom he barely interacts with in the novel. So I was happy to have that confirmation.
Okay.
And all suggestions of his past male lovers were erased, save for any subtext involving Marius in the film, which is very slight, I think, but it's there.
I would say that Vincent Perez as Marius is actually making that queer reading possible, but I'm getting zero, like nothing from Townsend in terms of at least queerness.
Yeah, exactly. And screenwriter Abbott said that the bisexuality factor was never discussed or even debated when they were making this film.
No. We tried that once, and even though Interview with the Vampire was a huge fucking hit, and as you said, we got 2 Oscars or Oscar nominations, it's like, no, let's just completely straight wash this.
Yeah, 100%. Now, for Jesse, they met with, I mean, this is probably an exaggeration, but 1 million people is what they said.
I'm sure they met with every available actress of a certain age.
More people than they did to see Lestat.
Which is wild.
Some people that could have been in this role, Tara Reid, Jordana Brewster.
Maybe.
Shannon Sossaman. The one that stands out, like the one that everyone really wanted, but the studio said wasn't good looking enough.
Oh my God, my head is about to explode, isn't it?
Michelle Williams.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. We don't know her in a sexy capacity, but I would also argue that Jessie isn't a necessarily sexy character.
I mean, I think she's trying to be.
Well, I think Moreau is trying to play her as such.
So also Michelle Williams was unfairly dismissed for being too much of a TV teen, going back to that whole, like, oh yeah, TV stardom doesn't equal film stardom.
There we go. Yeah.
Marguerite Moreau came on board after she did a WB pilot with Bradley Cooper, which is how she found her way into the Wet Hot American Summer world, because he plays one of the gay characters in that movie.
Right. And TV show.
And TV show, yes. I gotta say, though, Wet Hot American Summer, I remember seeing that in high school. And, like, the scene where I think he is fucking Michael Ian Black, or maybe it's the other way around, for a very lengthy sex scene. That was spank bang material for me. I mean, I was a teenager when I was watching that. And the internet didn't have porn accessible like we do today. So that was my porn back in the day.
It was good. It was hot. It was funny representation, like, because it seemed as if people respected the characters, even though they were also sometimes the butt of the joke. They also weren't. Like, they were just like all the other characters.
Yeah, their queerness was never the butt of the joke.
There we go.
But anyway, that WB pilot obviously didn't get picked up. And okay, this is how Moreau got the part. And it's going to sound like I'm shading her, but I'm just reciting facts. So
okay.
She had this great friend at the time, and they would roll around in their black clothes and drive this is word for word from Moreau, by the way, drive a sexy Mustang, and they would take all these great crop top pictures, photos of them wearing crop tops. And she put all these photos on a matte photo paper and sent it to director Michael Rymer, who took it to Warner Brothers, and they were like, yep, that's her. She's hot enough.
She's got sexy abs. Movie star potential.
That's it. Like, I'm just like, you saw a million girls, and
you couldn't find other people who looked good in crop. This production is sounding utterly ridiculous.
Right?
Like, none of you are serious. None of you wanted this to work. I'm sorry. You're all deeply unserious filmmakers.
Again, no one cared about showing respect to the book, to Anne Rice. It was just money. How much money can we make off of this thing?
Yeah, off the soundtrack, apparently.
So production begins in October of 2000, lasting almost 5 months on a budget of $35 million, which is, by the way, almost half the budget Interview had with $60 million.
Right, yeah.
Most of the shoot took place in Australia, with some scenes filmed in Los Angeles, but apparently, the shooting did go very smoothly.
Okay.
In case anyone is wondering, or book readers are wondering, why Lestat is not blonde in this movie, despite Anne Rice making a big deal out of his hair in the book, and Tom Cruise being blonde in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
They tried the blonde hair on Townsend, and he hated it, but they also agreed that he didn't look good, so they let him use his own hair.
Okay.
Which I'm just like, well, then shouldn't that have been a fucking factor when you're casting this role?
One would think. Maybe we do a couple of screen tests with our actor and say, do you look good blonde? No? Sorry, maybe you're not a good fit for the fucking role.
And I wonder if part of this was, we're rushing to make that end of 2000 deadline to the rights so we can keep the rights.
Honestly, when you were describing it, and this is no shade to one of my favorite franchises, but a fucking hot mess franchise, it sounds like Dimension and the fucking Weinsteins and how they approach the Hellraiser films.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, at least the quality, well, I would argue the quality of this is better than most Hellraiser sequels, but
mostly. Yeah.
But you might find it odd that, despite the titular Queen of the Damned being played by a famous singer, Aaliyah didn't have a song planned for this movie.
Yeah, I did notice.
That changed. So she approached Gibbs, the composer, about halfway through filming, telling him that she loved the songs that he and the Korn guy Davis wrote.
The Korn guy.
The Korn. Korn is just not a very pleasant word to say. But anyway, he was confused, though, thinking, okay, wait, you like Korn? Like, this doesn't seem like the type of music you would be into. And she goes, no. Like, I love Korn. Would you guys please write a song for me? And they reported back. Warner Brothers music people were like, oh my God, this is great. Like, it's going to be the end credits song. There you go. Sadly, before that plan could come to fruition, Aaliyah died in a plane crash on August 25th, 2001 at the age of 22.
Okay. Yeah. Part of me was like trying to do the math or do the dates as you were talking. Because I'm like, it all sounds like it's going to work. Why don't I remember a song? Oh, fuck.
That's why. So basically, if they had planned on it before the movie was filmed, we would have gotten that song. But
so maybe if we hadn't made assumptions about what kind of music certain people like, we could have incorporated it in since we had already planned all the other fucking songs.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, again, y'all are so soundtrack focused, and you have Aaliyah as the titular character of your movie, and you don't think for a second, let's give her a song?
I legitimately would have thought the minute we started circling musicians for this part, it would have been, and also we want to do some kind of musical, even like the fact that Akasha doesn't do something singy in the film, I would have thought we would have incorporated it in.
Yeah. I gotta say, too, because I knew about her death, but I, did my deep dive into, what happened with that plane crash. It's really...
so unfortunate.
It really sucked. She was leaving from filming a music video in the Bahamas, and the plane was overloaded by one passenger, and apparently, the pilot, he lied about his credentials in terms of, how skilled he was at flying that particular aircraft, and it crashed when it was not 200 feet away from the runway it took off from.
Yeah. So. Basically, we just started and then boom.
Yeah. Aaliyah's death also meant that she wouldn't be able to complete most of her ADR for the film. So they asked her brother, Rashad Houghton, if he would come in and do some of her ADR. And basically the creative reasoning behind this was they were like, okay, well, Akasha has a powerful voice. They can then use him to help her out and double track the actress and use different takes of her at the same time. So you've got the sense that there's this, because she has
it's like sounds, a reverb or something.
Yes, 100%. So it's basically them taking her brother's ADR and then whatever ADR she did with what sound they had recorded on set and just layered it over each other to give her this kind of ethereal, ancient vibe to her voice.
Interesting. See, that shows a bit of ingenuity in very, very unfortunate circumstances. I actually do think it works. Like, I don't love her phony baloney accent, but
I don't
actually
mind the accent.
okay. You know what? To each their own then. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, to me, the Akasha stuff is the best part of this film.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the thing.
It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, so despite not showing up until 50 minutes into this 97-minute movie and having at most 20 minutes of screen time, Aaliyah was always going to be the anchor of the marketing campaign. So
because it's called Queen of the fucking Damned, because we didn't want to make a vampire Lestat movie, even though ultimately what we do is make a fucking vampire Lestat movie.
And it was also clear to Warner Brothers that they weren't going to put as much emphasis on Queen of the Damned as a sequel to Interview with the Vampire. A decision
why? Why did we make this movie? Why are we trying to make this as an IP then?
And all these people in this oral history are like, yeah, that might have hindered this movie's success. I gotta say though,
maybe.
So like, I logged this on Letterboxd, Joe, and literally one person commented overnight and was like, "Oh wow, I had no idea this was an Anne Rice property."
Oh my god, that is wild.
Okay. I know. I was like, it's Lestat on the poster. But
here's the thing: if you don't know, you can't assume that general audiences are just going to pick up on this. Because especially around this time, this just looks like a generic vampire movie.
It sure does. So the movie opens on February 22nd, 2002, against the only new release that weekend, which was the Kevin Costner and Kathy Bates supernatural drama Dragonfly.
Oh, God.
I know. But boy, Joe. So Queen of the Damned debuted at the number 1 spot with $14.7 million, but topped out at an unimpressive worldwide gross of $45 million. $30 million of that was its domestic gross. And again, we're looking at a $35 million budget. So that's not good.
She a big old floppo, and that's why we don't have other sequels, and that's why it took us so long to get a TV show, which, P.S., much better medium for all of these stories.
But I just want to bring this up because this is very sad. So that Kevin Costner movie Dragonfly opened in the number 3 spot that same weekend with $10.2 million. And
how much did it leg out?
It legged it out to a $30 million domestic gross, the exact same amount Queen of the Damned had. But it actually had a higher worldwide gross of $52 million.
Yeah.
Also, Dragonfly had a budget of $60 million, which is wild to me because I'm like, that. I definitely saw that as a kid because it was like a PG-13 supernatural movie. I can't say anything about it, but I'm like, why is that movie $60 million? It must have been Kevin Costner's fee or something.
That, and we were just making mid-tier films, right? Like, that gross is the kind of thing where nowadays you would never give that budget to a film. It's like, you need to make it for either under 15 million or we will give you 150 and you have to have Thor in it.
Yep, that's it. Because Kevin Costner is, well, I guess Yellowstone people. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But again, TV, not movies.
But yeah, so also critics hated this movie. We're looking at a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, whereas Letterboxd users have given this a 2.8 out of 5 average score.
Yeah.
Now, before I pass it off to you, Joe, just some quick words from Rymer on the final product. He says, "It is not the movie I set out to make. I think it's fun on its own terms. I think it's entertaining. I think it's colorful. There are some original things about it.
It is not colorful.
I was really like, what movie were you watching?
Unless we're talking about the characters in terms of their personalities, but I would say
it's
even
a great
then,
movie.
No.
Yeah. He says most of the acting is good. Okay.
No.
But we were so busy jamming in all those ancient vampires that show up. It was just too busy. The script did not have enough substance to justify all these characters and plot. Basically,
he's literally saying we're trying to cram in all of this stuff. Yes, because you're trying to adapt 2 separate fucking books, but then there's not enough. Sir, I need you to take a step back and work on your reflection.
So he says, basically, producer Jorge Saralegui, so the first guy that was thrown the Queen of the Damned book, he goes, we were rewriting all the way up until we shot, and that was probably not smart. And I'm like, you two are not the screenwriters of this movie either. So you have Abbott and the other guy, but then you have the director and this producer rewriting up until the filming date.
This is a clusterfuck. I mean, this is just people wanted to make movie to make money and sell soundtrack. And then they were like, oh shit, now we actually have to make the movie. None of us have a single interest or vision in what this should look like.
And it sounded like Rymer had it, but honestly, I'm not really... I mean, technically, yes, Rymer is to blame for a lot of this stuff. And again, the screenplay. But what I suspect is Rymer was beaten down or worn down by all of the studio fighting.
I wonder, too, if it was, I'm from Australia and I'm getting my big Hollywood break and I really want to do this thing and they're going to let me do it. Oh, what do you mean you're making me do the other book? Okay, I guess. And then, yes, I guess I'll just keep accepting your weird suggestions and your dumb decisions and your odd casting choices and so on. Like, yeah, I wonder if it was just he didn't feel like he could stand up for himself and it was probably too late to back out by the time that he realized, oh, I should have just made the vampire Lestat or fucked off.
I mean, that's the thing, you know, like if you're spending weeks, months, maybe even years developing this film,
like
you're
years,
constantly fighting with the studio. It's like at a certain point, it's like, I feel like you just got to relent and be like, fuck it. Like, I just want my paycheck and let's get this done.
I was going to say, it's the Wes Craven cursed effect. Let's just finish this motherfucker so I can move on and do something I actually care about.
Now, he does continue. The movie wasn't scary.
No.
I don't think visually I got quite the world that I was trying to create. It ended up being a bit more glam. We were also dealing with a fairly hostile environment from the fan base. People saying, I can't believe Akasha's going to be black. I can't believe Lestat isn't blonde. This movie's going to suck. He even apologized to Anne Rice when he went to go send her a cut of the film, saying to her, I don't think I've got your book on film at all. And she was a bit shell-shocked by how many changes they had made to the story, but he does go on to say that there is a director's cut that exists that he thinks is marginally better. So he's not like... he says it's longer and less fragmented, and there's a lot less voiceover. It's a bit more arty.
Oh my God. Less voiceover would have helped this movie so much too.
I mean, okay, again, Lestat having voiceover makes sense, you know, because Louis had the voiceover in the first movie. But giving Jesse voiceover in this movie is stupid.
When she suddenly starts, I was just like, oh no, what are we doing?
I could not believe it. But, okay, Joe, what happens in this movie?
Okay, one final piece, just because it is fairly prominently listed on the Wikipedia page, there is a real-life tragedy that's associated with this film where somebody committed a murder of their friend and then claimed that it was because Aaliyah as Akasha told them to.
That sounds like someone with schizophrenia.
It definitely sounds like some mental illness. They did end up having to go to trial and they were found not insane, so they were sentenced, but then they died of suicide in jail. So very unfortunate. But it's just such a weird mark on a film because it truly has nothing to do with the movie. And yet it obviously has a kind of legacy that cements it to it.
Yeah, that's really... I'd never heard of that before. So, oof.
No, me neither. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about nonsense, shall we?
Do you want to design your own custom miniature? Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from, all within your browser. Working with materials like color plastic, acrylic standee, and bronze, and offering downloadable model files for users to 3D print their unique designs at home, Hero Forge is constantly expanding its catalog of customization options, adding new parts every week and major features like new species and custom posing on a regular basis. And as a listener of the Horror Queers podcast, you get a special deal. Use code HQ to get 5% off on all orders of physical miniatures. Visit heroforge.com to start designing your custom miniature and dice today, and check back often. New content is added every week. And remember, use code HQ to get 5% off on all orders of physical miniatures. Not combinable with other sales or promotions.
In voiceover, we hear Lestat, who is played by Stuart Townsend, talking about how he has awoken from 100 years of slumber thanks to new metal. New metal!
I gotta say, though, the Warner Brothers logo was like colored gray and black, and I immediately was like, ooh, yay, I'm so excited.
I mean, we do like it when they do something a little different with the Warner Brothers logo, but yeah, it's just... I think, not to sound overly dismissive or maybe histrionic, but the movie begins and just immediately you can kind of sense that something's not quite right.
I mean, because the gravity of the situation, you know, like Lestat is woken up because, you know, the world sounds different, aka the sound of new metal. But like, I don't get that from this opening scene. It's like, oh, it's almost like it was like a bad alarm clock that woke him up.
A little bit, oh, I didn't quite hit REM, and then I heard something in my neighbor's yard, and I woke up to investigate, and lo and behold, it was the dawn of nu metal.
It sure was.
Okay, so he immediately drains an unhoused man, and then he goes to his old house where he sees that a band is practicing. Sure, okay.
Yeah.
He confesses that he's a vampire immediately. This is just breaking the code.
Well... He's like strewn out, laid out
Sure.
over the speaker, and he's like, "I am the vampire Lestat," and I'm like, "Okay, dude."
Yeah.
Because hey, you know what though? That would make sense for him to introduce himself that way if we reference the fact that Christian Slater's book Interview with the Vampire existed in this reality.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think you can watch this movie and alternate between, does the world know about vampires? Do they believe in vampires? Versus, did that book ever get published? Do people know what the fuck is going on? Because there's so many times where it feels like people are surprised by vampires. And then other times where we have whole legions of people. Like when we get to the concert in Death Valley and there's like, 500,000 people gathered for this fucking concert? I was just like, who do these people think that they're actually going to see?
The vampire Lestat.
But why do they think that he is so great? Because what we have seen is a couple of shitty MTV music videos that just look like every other band at that time. And I was like, so do people legitimately think that he's a vampire? Or is it just, oh my God, he's a god of nu metal?
Well, and this is that thing that we were talking about with Michael Varadi in our episode of The Fan from last month, where it's like, okay, like this movie has a hurdle because it has to be, this music is so good that it awakens the first female vampire ever in existence.
Yeah.
And that all these people will be so into it. And granted, admittedly, this soundtrack sounds like people really do have an affinity for it. Even if they don't like the movie, like people do like this soundtrack. So maybe it is that good. I just don't have the ears for it.
Right. I don't mind those songs personally. Like we've had a couple of conversations about nu metal. We covered a couple of titles that sort of fit within this bill. And the music sounds of that era. It does sound appropriate, but it just also, I don't think the movie does a good enough job of selling him as a celebrity. Like there's this moment where they give a press conference in London and he doesn't even appear in person. As one of the funny reviews that I'll cite later on, he appears as if he's on a Zoom screen and he's just like, hey, everybody, I'm super famous. And all these people are gaga for it. And you think, if the lead singer of a random band that apparently is only doing one concert on another continent literally phoned it in, I'd be like, this is a joke. I'm going home.
Now, okay, I have one anecdote for you about Townsend for this movie. I want you to tell me if this sounds accurate to you. But
okay,
this is from composer Richard Gibbs, the guy who helped write the score with Davis, and he says, "I had to rehearse the actors who played Lestat's bandmates. We're in this funky abandoned warehouse outside of Melbourne, and Stuart Townsend is supposed to lip sync along with us while the band is playing along with the tracks.
Right.
He would go up there, turn his back to the band and to me, and stare out a window. Not once did he stand at the microphone and lip sync a single word. I was starting to really hate Stuart Townsend." The first day of shooting the concert scene, Stuart's just kind of standing there hanging on the mic. We don't know what's going to happen. And suddenly the vocal track kicks in and he starts doing it. And fuck me, if it wasn't Mick Jagger, David Bowie, and Little Richard all rolled into one, he fucking killed it. He had all the rock star moves down. It was actually very smart of him to surprise everybody. Was that captured on film?
So I have mixed feelings about this. I feel like the audience is evenly divided. Some people think that he is exuding sexual charisma. He's really selling this performance. And then other people, I'm guessing, including you, feel like this is what is he doing up there?
Yeah. And again, maybe I'm just like, I'm too far removed from this world that I'm just like, I don't really get it, whatever. Maybe it is really good. I'm not qualified to judge this critically.
Okay. Yeah, folks, we would be curious to hear from you if you find this specific aspect of the performance, like not his overall job as an actor, but like the actual concert and or music performances.
Yeah.
Is it convincing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, he tells everybody he's a vampire, he's breaking this code, he begins like bamping around the room, and then we kind of transition as he takes over the band to become their lead singer, and I will say, I really like this music video styling. There's a lot about this movie's visuals that I don't always love, but this particular music video looks very similar to The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and I thought that that was an inspired touch.
I thought so as well. I'm glad you pointed that out because I actually thought the exact same thing about Caligari.
Okay. Yeah, it feels like we're trying to make a deliberate reference, at least with the way that some of the moves and specifically this is a bit more monochromatic and that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's
actually,
kind of fun.
Too, even the design, because, what would come out literally a year after this movie, but Underworld, which did kind of take the world by storm and was made for $22 million instead of the 35 this one cost. And that movie looks awesome.
I will say, I think that's another one that has a kind of new metal-ish soundtrack. So yeah, that's actually a great comparison. And I would argue, at least in terms of the visuals, like not everybody loves the storytelling. I think when we did our audio commentary on the film, we were both like, oh God, this movie is a little long.
Yeah,
like,
it's
quite
really long.
But I mean, that movie does get praise for its visual aesthetic and the way that it at least builds a world. Like, at least that has a world to it, Trace.
But I remembered, though, too, I feel like when we talked about that movie, I feel like the studio wasn't very confident in it. And I wonder if it was because it looked very similar to this one and this movie bombed.
Either that or, I mean, I think we can also tell the difference when there's too much studio meddling. And I think sometimes when a studio doesn't have a strong sense about a project, they sometimes just leave it alone. And that's how you can get some gold as well.
Okay.
Okay, so the Vampire Lestat band is super famous when they touch down for this press conference. So we literally go from him taking over this band to suddenly they are a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
We don't even get a montage.
Like, I cannot believe it. And here's the thing. I mean, like, if you're not a book reader, I assume the idea of, oh yeah, we're taking the character Tom Cruise played Interview the Vampire, he's going to be like a rock star in the next movie. Like, that sounds silly. You still have to, like, build up to it, I feel like.
You still have to sell it at least.
Yeah. But this is just, nope. And even if they said, oh, it's because he's a vampire, he hypnotized the entire world, that's at least something.
Tell us that. Show us that. Yeah. So no, they're super duper famous. Why do they come to London if they're not playing in London? Is it because Lestat lives here? Like, we see a house in Glastonbury, but then we also see he has a house when they go to the Death Valley show. Like, I just kind of assumed that he was traveling around and renting these ornate, giant house porny kind of places. Are we meant to believe that he lives here?
I don't. Honestly, I just thought they were on a press tour going all over the world to advertise their one concert.
Which, again, also makes no fucking sense, but okay. So, yes, he appears on this enormous video screen. He's taking questions from reporters, but he's really just kind of dazzling them because they're asking him things, and he basically just says, I want all the vampires to come. I can't even do his accent. I don't know what he's doing, but he essentially urges his fellow vampires to come out, whoever you are, because he doesn't care that he's pissing anybody off. He wants vampires to come into the light.
And it is kind of, because, I feel like Interview did a better job setting up the kind of like
the
hierarchy, the rules and the hierarchy of the vampires, the laws and things like that, which again, we see the fallout of that with Claudia's death. Right. But this one, it's like, a reporter is like, oh, isn't it? Are you not supposed to reveal the fact that you're a vampire? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, even just have her hold up a copy of the book.
The book!
Aren't
the
you
book!
Not supposed to reveal it? Anyway, nope. No. We can't do that. Okay, so yes, we go to Glastonbury, West England, and we see a couple of bang bangers. So this is Alyssa McKelland and Nicole Fantle. They arrive at this isolated house. They're gossiping about Lestat. They're doing that. I heard he does this, but they clearly don't actually believe that he is a vampire. They think that he is a rocker who is putting on airs of a vampire.
Yeah.
So Lestat comes out. He dismisses his assistant manager, girl provider, Roger. He is played by Tyriel Mora. And then Lestat does this weird thing where it's vaguely uncomfortable, where he gets the girls to go down on their hands and knees, and he's moving backwards, and they're acting like cats. And then he climbs the wall and just falls on them, and they scream.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
It's very much playing with your food, I think, is meant to be the idea.
I'm surprised he didn't have sex with them first.
I mean, yes. This movie is weirdly sexy, but not sexy. Like, the people are always dressed like they're super fucking horny, and maybe that's just the rock starness of it. Mm-hmm. But nobody is actually horny. Like, nobody really wants to fuck, at least until we get to Jesse, and then it's just like, girl, control yourself.
Yeah. There's not a sex scene in this movie. Actually, I know for a fact there's not, because the only reason this movie is rated R is for quote unquote vampire violence.
Sure, yeah. There's implied sex scenes. So I think we're meant to assume that he and Akasha have sex.
Yeah.
After she whisks him away from the performance.
Oh, you mean in the American Beauty rose petal bath?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, so yes, after he has fed on these women, the next morning he sort of like walks out into the courtyard and he's doing more of his, come out. And the way that this is edited, it makes it seem as if he is speaking directly to Jessie, Marguerite Moreau.
Enter Jessie.
Yeah, so our introduction to her is that she wakes up in a room that is filled with freaky porcelain dolls, and I couldn't tell if this was meant to be, oh, she's goth alternative, or she's infantilized, or she got some weird habits, or she got some childhood trauma. And maybe the answer is all of the above.
I mean, everything about this character. She's boring as fuck. But then we gotta get this backstory in with her aunt Maharet, played by Lena Olin. Which, I mean, again, I don't know how
Nothing to do. Nothing to do in this movie.
We know her from Alias. Like, yes. Lena Olin is Sydney. I was going to say Sydney Prescott. It's Sydney. What is her name on Alias?
Oh,
Sydney.
God, I don't know.
Sydney, whatever. She's Jennifer Garner's mom in Alias.
Yes.
But she has she's 2 scenes in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of them. So we get this flashback of Jessie's sad orphan backstory. So she's staying with her vampire aunt, Maharet, but it's like she doesn't seem to understand that her aunt is a vampire because she actively wants to drink her blood, but then her aunt is like, yeah, we got to get you out of here. This isn't the right fit for you.
Well, and then, okay, so Jessie is our doorway into the Talamasca. It's like, okay, so she's a part of this. It's like, there is no backstory here. Like, how did she get to the Talamasca? Is it because she was concerned about her family tree and all this? Like, nothing is given here.
No, because I should clarify, in case people haven't watched the movie or don't plan to, when we see this sad orphan backstory, like, it's a literal flashback to a little girl. So this is Jessie interacting with her aunt, and then it's like, oh, we got to get you out of here. And then we just cut to Jessie as this adult woman, and you're like, okay, so where's the interceding years? Like, again, maybe do something, like, if you're going to give us her stupid fucking voiceover, maybe say, it was that moment where I decided I was going to investigate the underworld and I joined the Talamasca or something. Like, but
it's lazy. It's lazy, but at least it's not bad. I mean, sorry, it's lazy, but it's not like non-existent.
Yeah. Instead, we just have her putzing around this fucking house. She's got MTV on. Yes, there's a BJ who was famous from the day, and I was like, whatever.
That lady, the blonde lady.
Yeah. People get angry at me for not referencing her, but I can't care. So we're watching Lestat's new song, Redeemer.
Ooh, guess who sings this song? Guess who does the voice for this? Marilyn Manson.
Oh, okay.
That's very gross, by the way.
Yeah. So then we just go from this where she's basically saying, oh, okay, this thing that I wasn't really paying attention to, the song has captured me. That's interesting. And we just go directly from this to the Talamasca Center for Paranormal Studies in London. And she's giving a speech to colleagues about the content, like the lyrics of this song, Redeemer. How much time has passed, Trace? Who is she? How does she have a relationship to this? Like,
no idea.
Do we know how old she is? How much of a member she is of the Talamasca? Like, we'll quickly find out she's overstepping. But part of me was like, why is that a problem? How does this all work? Like, zero background details on any of this.
And the way she puts all this together, so basically, like, Lestat's lyrics mention this thing called the Admiral's Arms, and she's like, that rang a bell. And in the late 1600s, there was a pub that had a reputation for dealing with black magic called the Admiral's Arms, and it still exists today as a vampire coven. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like, okay, so it's a bit of an exposition dump, but at least we're getting somewhere.
This is so this is the weird thing though. So because she says, okay, this is how I realized that Lestat was a real vampire, and I'm like, you don't think the Talamascas had tabs on Lestat for at least a century?
Yes, yeah, and we will find out in a beat. Like basically, she's told by everyone in the audience who look completely uninterested in whatever she's talking about, and then they remind her of the code that the Talamasca observe and record, they don't interfere. She just looks crushed, like, oh, I thought I was doing something. But then we're introduced to her supervisor, mentor, maybe romantic love interest. I cannot figure out whether or not they're supposed to be like coded as fucking or whatever. Anyway, this is David Talbot. He is played by Paul McGann, who has a part in Alien 3. So technically we have seen him before, but it's not the biggest or most memorable role.
Well, apparently this David Talbot does play a big part in the book, so I think we actually might see him on the Vampire Lestat this season.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Whether we'll get Jesse, time will tell.
Jesus Christ, please no. So David acknowledges that they already know about Lestat, and he's like, yeah, we've got journals, we've got a bunch of paintings from the guy who made him, Marius, and you're just like, so is Jesse just like a fucking idiot who not only doesn't understand how the Talamasca works, but also no one has spoken to her about anything?
They say she's an apprentice. So yeah, I mean, that wouldn't, like, she's like a trainee or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, they let her go through this entire rigmarole presentation and
like, how long did this take her to investigate? Like, surely she would have been using resources, or did she just hop on the World Wide Web? Like, if so, why didn't we see her doing research or something?
Where's our microfiche sequence?
Literally. Yes. So anyway, he's basically like, hey, dumb shit. We already knew all of this stuff. Also, look at all these paintings. It's all of the same guy. It's all Lestat. Yes, he's a real vampire. And she's like, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I also need to note that Jessie is in these scenes wearing an atrocious top. So she has a red sheer shirt with like ugly ass diamond things on them. It is hideous, even by 2002 fashion standards.
Well, also, she does not fit in with this cast of characters in the Talamasca, because I mean, there is a woman at this table that, like, I think she's the one that says, like, observe the dark realm, but not be not of it, or whatever the fuck. But like, these are all a bunch of like stuffy old white men, and then you have Jesse, who's like this 22-year-old
bombshell.
Like, yeah, like what?
And again, yes, we understand what apprentice means. Obviously, she is new to the establishment, and she's, trying to shake things up, and they're old and stuffy.
Do they not have a dress code?
I mean, it's like, girl, when you're in the Talamasca, cover up the crop top, put away the tramp stamp.
But remember, it was all those pictures of her in crop tops that got her the role.
This is true. In that case, keep that belly button bared. I can't overemphasize. She is incredibly attractive. Like, she's super fucking hot. So it makes sense for her to be the female lead of this, the sexually desirable object. It's just the movie cannot figure out how to introduce her, how to use her. She is so inconsistent in her characterization. I was just like, this is a bad character.
Well, and she's meant to be the audience surrogate, I guess. But I'm like, what? If you already have Lestat doing voiceover, do you need an audience surrogate?
Yeah, and like, her introduction is, hey, I'm going to tell you this one thing so that everyone else on screen can go, hey, dumb shit, we already know.
That's what I'm saying. They let her go on for however long this presentation took, when they could have just said, you can stop. We know.
or like, why not have her be like, hey, I saw this interesting thing to David in his office, and he can be like, yeah, no, we actually have been tracking this guy. Here are the paintings. Like, it's such a bad exposition delivery, and really it doesn't give us any information about how she actually fits into the Talamasca. And guess what, everybody? This is as much as we're going to get, because she doesn't interact with these people. She just goes fucking rogue from this point on. Yeah.
So the Talamasca doesn't even really play a big part. Even David Talbot is barely a character in this movie.
Oh, I don't understand his role in the film.
I think there were times where I was getting David Talbot confused with Marius.
Yeah, you know why? It's because we have old white man facial blindness. Not even old, but like older white man facial blindness. Because, they don't even look that similar, but they look similar enough that you're kind of like, which one are you?
You have to look for those teeth.
Gotta look for the teeth. Okay, so Jesse discovers that David has one of Lestat's old journals or diaries or whatever. So we flash back to 1788, and this is where we're getting more Lestat voiceover. And he basically says that he just like went to meet Marius, who was played by Vincent Perez, at a Mediterranean island. And we just see him like wake up in this bedchamber. We're going to pursue this in a moment, but I just needed to highlight this is how we are introduced to Marius. It's like he's a guy who painted a bunch of pictures of this dude, this hot dude who is also the other protagonist of this film. And then Lestat wakes up in bed on this random island, and you're like, you're not even going to show us how he got to the island or what the first meeting was with Marius. Like, I know that we're going to get stuff about like when he becomes a vampire, and that's really more of who Lestat is. But again, it just feels like we have missed an integral step in the story.
So 2 things. One, book fans, yes, there was a big adaptation change here because as we learned in the TV show, and if you read the book, Marius is not Lestat's maker. He is, by the way, Armand's maker. But, you know, we don't have Lestat's maker Magnus in this movie. But what I actually really don't like about this scene is when Marius turns Lestat, it's like he dies his human form, he comes back, and he is a completely different person than who he was when he died. And
it's 3 seconds later.
3 seconds later. And I'm like, okay, that's so fucking... Because I do believe there's a bit more of a thing where it's like, okay, no, the immortality Lestat is faced, like his experiences in life made Lestat who he is today. Not, he turned into a vampire and immediately became a different person.
Yeah. It's a complete personality shift, apparently.
Yeah, but whatever, it's fine.
So I am going to bring in one of these 2 funny reviews that I mentioned earlier. So one of them is a website called Johnny Writes. The author is John Russell, and he basically just takes the piss out of the entire movie. So it's a kind of beat for beat plot synopsis, but with very, very gay descriptions of everything. So of this opening scene, this is what Johnny Wright says. Dear Diary, the diary says, one time in 1788, I got kidnapped by this total gay bones named Marius who wanted to do gay vampire stuff on me, which he did, and now I'm a vampire. And I'm like, yep, that pretty much describes it. I think, as I said earlier, Marius is the most queer-coded in a very not interested in exploring queer vampires, which is ridiculous because vampires are always super fucking queer. But I will say the moment where after Marius slow-mo jumps on Lestat and then bites him and then feeds him his blood, he's basically straddling Lestat and then says, good, is it not? And I was just like, boys, just get to Pound Town. You've already painted a fucking portrait of this guy. The least you could do is fuck him.
Well, also, okay, this isn't really to the queerness of it, but like, you know, he gets turned and, you know, he drinks and whatever. And Lestat, the first thing he says is, more. And that is a direct callback. Maybe unintentionally so.
To Claudia.
Maybe it's intentionally. To Claudia, being, I want some more. I'm like, what? If you're trying to distance yourself from Interview with the Vampire, why are you doing this callback?
Yeah. Let's throw the fans the tiniest of bones, shall we?
Also, everyone, just so you know, this flashback takes up 17 minutes of this 97-minute movie, and this pretty much is the Vampire Lestat in 17 minutes.
Yeah. Shocking no one, it doesn't tell us very much, and it's not very helpful.
Yeah, imagine that. A 500-page book in 17 minutes.
Yeah. It sounds like a bad high school report, if we're being honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so we cut to Lestat on the beach. This is where we're getting the education on how vampire protocols and decorum work. I will say Chekhov's "Don't drink the last drop or you'll die" is introduced here. Yeah. Everybody put that in your back pocket. It's definitely not going to come back. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And again, that's a major part in Claudia's plot to kill Lestat, but whatever. Okay.
Whatever. Okay, so we're walking along. Marius explains you got to be discreet because the mortals can never know that we exist. Vampires have to hide in the shadow. Yeah. Lestat is a narcissist, as we all know from multiple texts of this character now. He doesn't want to stay in the shadows. He wanted to live a big life and be famous and well known for things. So we immediately get into a violin jamming session with a girl and her father on the beach. We should note that Stuart Townsend does not play the violin himself. So this is a double played by Matt Hassel. Mm-hmm. And naturally, his ability to basically work this violin, he practically sets it on fire. He's playing so quickly. Yeah. And the dad is like, oh my God, he's a vampire. There's something weird going on. So we just killed both these characters.
Well, but that's how we because this scene exists only to provide that exposition on the vampire rules. Because, yeah, he accidentally breaks the neck of this girl who's running away and he's about to bite her. And then Marius is like, no, you can't.
Yeah. So this is how we learn a hard lesson. And I do love that we will find out Lestat still has this violin. Like, oh, I was turned into a vampire and then I immediately killed someone and I've never been able to let it go, even though Marius told me to let go of my emotions, and I still have the violin.
Yeah, a violin that will become important right now.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, so Marius is painting down at the beach, and Lestat discovers that he has a secret door in his room.
Well, okay, but he's playing the violin in his room. Again, it's supposed to be enough to somewhat awaken Akasha, who's down in this basement in the secret door. But, like, the bow flies out of his hand and is, like, pulled towards the secret door.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a little bit weird. That's a bit supernatural. Let me get down on my hands and knees. Hey, there's a secret door. There's a stairwell. There's a tunnel. Yeah.
And then there's another door.
I will say, though, I like the effect of the flames in the walls lighting up as he walks by. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Truthfully, I think this Akasha chamber is really cool looking.
It is. I'm not going to lie. It is giving Blade.
Oh, I mean...
Like, we learned from a vampire movie that did much better than us financially.
Yeah, because I think also by this point, Blade 2 comes out this exact same year. Yeah.
Better movie. We also have an audio commentary on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we go into this giant chamber. We've got two different vampire statues. So we've got a queen and a king, and there's, a water feature. It kind of looks like a spa, like a high-end spa you might go to. Anyway, we're hearing some whisperings, so Lestat goes to investigate, and of course, the female statue is made to look like Aaliyah, but when we get closer, when we're playing the violin, the statue begins to raise its arm, and it appears to have veins in the white marble. Again, I actually thought this looked really cool.
I think it looked cool, but I have to assume, like, the marbleization of vampires is something that is maybe explained a little bit better in Anne Rice's source novels.
I would hope so, yeah.
This didn't make any sense to me.
No, it's like, because there's this moment where when he sees the veins, he's as much enamored with her as she presumably is with him. Like, it's a kind of spell that they share, and he ends up biting into the vein, and part of it was just like... crunch, ow, my teeth.
I thought that sort of thing. But then I'm also like, wait, why didn't she wake up fully at this point then?
I think he either had to keep playing or maybe there needed to be some kind of blood exchange. But yeah, he ends up drinking from her and then he passes out and Marius finds him. But the statue is now kind of back to normal. But Marius obviously understands what's happened because where did the blood come from?
And here's the thing, because this whole thing he has Akasha's blood in him is like supposed to be this big deal. If he had his full personality shift in this moment,
right,
that would have made sense to me.
Yeah, like he's intoxicated and forever changed because we will come to find out that Akasha doesn't give a shit about anything. Doesn't care about humans, also doesn't care about vampires. Really just kind of wants to destroy the world, do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That would have been much better.
Yeah, and have the beach scene be like, oh, he's a novice vampire still learning. Like that. It also would have been more interesting to watch.
I agree. Yeah. Needless to say, Marius... I mean, you would think he's pissed because what he does is he chains Lestat to the bed and Lestat's just like, rah, rah, like it's giving gentle S&M kind of vibes. Like, I'm going to leave you locked down until you agree to, oh, wait, I'm not fucking you. Never mind. We don't do that in this movie.
We don't do that in 2002.
No. But it's, I don't know, like, there's some stuff about Akasha here, and you're supposed to care and pay attention, but also the movie will reiterate it later, so it doesn't really matter. And then Marius just fucks off, and we hear in voiceover, he never came back for me, and I never spoke to him again.
Yeah, which, I mean, like, Because
Why?
he drank the blood, but then also, this whole setup leads me to believe that Marius is like the guardian of the statues of Akasha and Keel, who is her king.
Think
who
so, yeah,
is not
who's
a character.
not a character.
Literally not a doesn't. Yeah, he's killed in statue form.
Off screen, we hear about it later.
The fact that we don't get to see her wake up and do this is fucking mind-boggling to me.
Oh, this movie doesn't know how to use these characters. And
Not at all.
It just constantly jumps over things that you would think, oh, any other movie would have understood. We should probably show that. Yeah, we don't do that. One final piece with Marius before we leave him behind for a hot second, just because he is the queerest part of the movie. When Lestat says that Akasha chose him, Marius goes, I chose you. And then that's when he leaves. So it really does seem like, I mean, he explained before he turns Lestat that he needs help understanding the modern world. That's why he picked him. But part of me was like, well, you could have picked anybody of a certain age and they would have helped you to understood the world. So clearly this is, I thought you were hot. Yeah. And that's why I wanted you.
And also, who's watching these statues now?
Presumably Marius, but this is not a part of this. No, I think he leaves with them. Like, he takes them, because when we go down to the chamber, they're gone. So it's Marius left, and so are the statues.
I need to see him flying with these statues in hand.
Or just, like, packing them up into a plane and taking off or something.
Also, why is it music that wakes up Akasha? I mean, I guess that's meant to be the theme. And again, I imagine it plays better in the novel, because it's music that wakes Lestat up from his slumber, which feeds into, it's music that wakes up Akasha from her slumber. But I still don't get it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much we're going to explore it, because even in the first episode of The Vampire Lestat, he does talk about how he has the blood of Akasha, or the blood of a god in him. So I've often wondered if music is part of their connection. We'll see.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Lestat is very sad because his maker has now left, and, he's all alone to the cold, dark wasteland of eternity. The way that I'm reading this is about as good a vocal inflection as Stuart Townsend is giving. So, which is to say bad.
Yeah.
It's very much like, I'm doing a monotone. I'm sad. I'm Lestat. I've been alone for 100 years. And you're like, cool. Let me plunk down $12 to see this movie.
And this concludes our adaptation of The Vampire Lestat.
17 minutes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, so we're back to the present, and Jessie is doing her best Chun-Li from Street Fighter drag.
Oh, my God.
Or I saw online a lot of people said Bjork.
I gotta say, Joe, because we cut to her just walking down, and she's going right to a vampire bar, and I looked at her and I was like, "You think that is what you need to look like to go into a? Shouldn't you have done some recon to see what people going into this bar look like before you did that to your hair?"
And again, it's not like she looks bad. She just looks like she's doing
out of place.
Something between Chun-Li and Princess Leia from Return of the Jedi. Basically, we've got bones on the side of our heads, but yeah, like, to say that she doesn't fit in is the understatement of the century, and not just because the makeup department said, we need to make sure people understand this actress is human and everyone else is vampire, even though they all look pallid, like they have not seen sun in however many years. So what they do is they throw a Sephora amount of blush onto Marguerite Moreau just to be like, oh wow, she got human blood in her. This actress looks flushed, like we left her out in the sun for 5 hours and then said, girl, you're on, the cameras are rolling.
It's horrible. She's so out of her depth here. I do have to say, Joe, there is a song playing over this that I did immediately recognize. I knew one song in this soundtrack, and this is the song Excess, done by Tricky. It's one that's like, I believe in people lying. I believe that song.
I appreciate that you said it. I 100% knew who you were talking about, because Tricky is, my fucking jam for back in high school.
The only way I know what the song is because it was used in the marketing for 13 Ghosts.
Yes. Because there are certain songs that are bangers to the degree that we will reuse them in multiple different media, because it's just like, oh, that is so fucking good. Yeah, it's a great song. And honestly, the sequence is kind of fun because it starts to feel like, okay, we've gotten the flashbacks out of the way. We're not going to spend much more time in the 18th century. We're back in the present, and Jesse's going to start doing something. Like, let's get into it. Maybe the movie is going to begin now.
She's so passive this entire movie.
Yes, it's a problem. So she goes into this bar and all the vampires are taking notice of her, and she realizes, I think pretty quickly, she's in over her head. So they say, who is your host? Like, basically, you are somebody's possession. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in here. Who are they? Where are they? And she, because she knows 2 vampire names, is like, Marius.
Yeah. And so also, I'm like, bitch, you didn't prepare at all? Like, she clearly had to think before she said this.
Yes, yeah. And she doesn't look cowed at all because, you know, she's meant to be a strong female heroine, so she's going to hold her own. These vampires are basically not buying it because they know that Marius is an elder and no elders exist anymore. So what the fuck you talking about, girl?
Also, her horrific performance of trying to blend in as a vampire aside, wouldn't she, as a member of Talamasca, be aware that vampires would probably be able to, I don't know, hear her heart beating?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's meant to be a surprise that she's not a vampire. Like, they know that she's human, and she knows that they know that she's human, but she's meant to belong to a vampire. So yeah, she should have had a cover story, or she should have known how things were going to work and practice something in advance.
This is probably why Talamasca has those rules. It's like, hey, you're an apprentice. Know your fucking place.
Yeah, like, we're human beings and we don't have an association with vampires, so we're not going to walk into a vampire bar like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is the whole point of the film, is that she is constantly just walking herself into danger because she's like, well, I gotta find Lestat. I'm obsessed with Lestat. And you're kind of like, but why? Well, she's read part of his diary and she came to this vampire bar hoping to lure him out. I mean, it totally fucking works because he's 4 feet away listening in on this whole conversation.
Yeah, because I again, the why she's doing this, I think it has to do with, whatever her family line is. And, you know, she thinks her Aunt Maharet, because she doesn't know she's a vampire, but I think she feels a connection to vampires. But again, none of that is communicated in this movie.
No, because again, even if we had a longer scene with her and David, he could say, look, I know that you're obsessed with this because of your family history, but you have to stop putting yourself into danger thinking that you can find your Aunt Maharet by finding Lestat, or just something. Like, establish the basics of why she is so willing to put herself into danger. Because I'm not going to lie, there's a moment where she calls David from the airport because she's going to this Death Valley concert out of nowhere. And he says, you're obsessed with Lestat. And I just thought, is she? Is that what we're meant to take away from all this? Because it has not been properly communicated. Like, I don't understand the nature of why she's so enamored with him.
Yeah, I don't get it at all either. I mean, I think the idea is just meant to be that he is enamoring. Like, that's just it.
Sure, but he dresses the exact same way as all of the other vampires, and they all seem either dangerous or sexy or dangerously sexy. Like, welcome back to vampire media. That's basically how they work. And Lestat doesn't seem that different from any of the other vampires in this movie, so I don't understand what sets him apart in this world. Like, I think it's another failure of Stuart Townsend's performance that he doesn't stand out from any other vampire. I don't understand what makes him so magnetic.
Yeah, and, you know, Tom Cruise's performance was one of the highlights of that original film for a reason. Like, Townsend just lacks that natural charisma Cruise has.
Yes, and we didn't get a ton of Lestat in that film because it's very much Louis' story, but when we gave Lestat the spotlight, he stole it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jessie gets herself into the spot of trouble. She manages to get her way out of the bar, but she makes it into a back alley that's fucking a dead end or whatever. Like, she's definitely still in trouble. These 3 vampires are totally going to eat her. And then Lestat swoops in. He ends up saving her. And we have our first face-to-face interaction. So she talks about the song Redeemer, which is the one she heard on MTV. And she says, hey, it sounds like you're referring to the violin girl from the beach. I know you. And he's basically like, cool, you read my diary. bitch.
And she's really trying to get onto him. So did you clock this line? He says, "Don't worry, Jesse. Your kind never satisfies my thirst." And I just wrote gay. I don't think he actually meant women, but like
No.
that's how I took it.
Yeah. He does call her the clever Talamasca librarian, and I did think it was very funny, especially maybe even doubly so now that you said she got the part by essentially flashing her midriff, because it's like when you think of librarian and when you think of the Talamasca and how they were presented, Jesse doesn't really fit either one of those, but the way he's talking, like, oh, put some glasses and a ponytail on this girl.
Yeah. I mean, I did get a little bit of a chuckle out of it because he'll say it a couple times. It's like, clever librarian.
Yeah. So anyway, he is almost as enamored with her as she is with him, but he ends up flying around her, giving her a bit of a jump scare and then disappearing. So cool. Let the flirting game begin between these two. So she decides she's going to go to the US for the one and only show of the Vampire Lestat. She calls David from the airport. He worries that she's obsessed. Bam! Hollywood. Just cool. Okay, we have left London behind. Let's transition over to America. We hear Godheads penetrate as Lestat is basically moving around this palatial house. He's in his coffin wearing headphones, so he's also listening to new metal, which I guess it's good that he listens to the music he makes as well.
Sure, why not?
Sure. Anyway, Marius has showed up. So it's been 200 years. We have not spoken to him, but Marius has decided to come and warn him.
I did get another good chuckle out of his. Well, I just had to look for the most gauche house on the block.
Yep. It's a good read because Marius is a queen and she knows how to put on them glasses and do a reading challenge.
Yeah.
We get this really dumb bit where they talk about how Marius is still dressing old-fashioned because remember, he doesn't know contemporary times. That's why he needed Lestat. But then they dish about missing out on Elvis in the 50s. And I was like, what are we doing right now?
Well,
why?
So I actually didn't listen to any of this conversation because I was so transfixed on the mise en scène of this shot because they're hanging on this, one of those things that window cleaners stand on, when they're cleaning a window of a building. And it's right in front of, I'm presuming, a billboard of the Vampire Lestat.
It's Lestat in his leather pants and they're right at crotch level.
Yeah, they're right in front of the bulge. I was like, okay. So I just couldn't stop looking at their placement.
Now, again, this feels not at all subtle. And even though I'm not going to pretend that this movie is ostentatiously queer or anything, this feels like a deliberate acknowledgement of, okay, sure, it's Lestat is huge. He's literally huge. Look at the size of this billboard. But also, let's have him and his queer-coded maker sit in front of the bulge.
Yeah.
Gay.
Gay, very gay.
Very gay. Anyway, Marius is just here to confirm that Akasha has arisen. She killed the king, she took his blood, and now we've got to stop her because if not, the world is going to end. Trace, we saw none of this!
None of this! If you walked to the kitchen to grab something, you would have missed this entire bit of exposition and been like, what the fuck?
But also, it doesn't matter because then we just cut back to the Admiral's Arms, which is this vampire bar back in London as we finally get to see Akasha. So this is the appearance of Aaliyah. She appears in this ornate headpiece and necklace.
Yeah.
Great costuming for her.
Apparently, all of her makeup and costuming, everything took about an hour and a half to apply every day, which is pretty good.
Not terrible, but also it's not like big. So.
Yeah. I do love her chest piece, though. I think it looks so cool.
I will say, I think her costume at the end, when she tries to attack Maharet and the other vampires, I like that costume better. But in terms of this, it's giving, she's obviously coded Egyptian, but it is also giving a kind of belly dancer vibe. Yeah. And Aaliyah, I don't know if she was a trained dancer, but she knows how to move. And she's doing a kind of like slithery body motion around the dance floor. She's so magnetic.
I love too, like she has like metallic armbands on her with a piece of fabric hanging off. Yeah, I guess it's more of a belly dancer type look. But yeah, this is a great introduction for her, even though I wish we would have gotten her waking up. But again, why we don't see her wake up is mind-boggling to me. But
it's baffling. Yeah.
The movie does have a bit of a problem though, because it's like, okay, she can literally raise her hand up and immediately light these vampires on fire.
Yeah. She just immolates anybody who tries to attack her, which is basically what the next sequence is. So she says, hey, I'm looking for Lestat. He's playing on the TV right now. They don't fucking care. And then they try to attack her because they're threatened by her. And she just lights them and then the entire place on fire. So it's a nice way for the film to testify, oh, wow, she's super fucking powerful, because we haven't seen any other vampire do this. But it also immediately presents her as, how are you going to battle her? Because you can't even get near her.
Yeah, and I mean, I will repeat this when we get to the climax of this movie, but her death is so underwhelming.
Oh, it is super underwhelming.
Really bad.
It plays like we ran out of money.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Also, something that we ran out of money on, welcome back to 2002, green screen effects when she walks out of this flaming bar, because, oh, it's not great.
I wrote, this would be cool if it looked better.
Yeah. Because part of it, I do think it's a real fire. This doesn't look like CGI flames.
It's like superimposed, though.
But yeah, it's very much, okay, just try to match it when she actually walks out, and we don't have real fire behind her.
Yeah, but say goodbye to her for like another 20 minutes.
More or less, yeah. And by the way, the movie's 2/3 over at this point. So Lestat's bland voiceover continues about how vampires are going to try to kill him at the sold-out concert. And then we get Jessie finagling her way into seeing him because Roger is out there picking up bang-bangers. We, again, don't even see how she manages to get selected, because there's 20 girls who all look like they went to Hot Topic that afternoon, picked the most vampiric wannabe outfit, and then showed up on Hollywood Boulevard. So, like, how did she get selected for this? I don't know.
Again, I think she's supposed to be like this, almost like the female human equivalent of Lestat, where she's just so fucking beautiful that, like, everyone's eyes go to her. And again, Moreau is a very beautiful woman, but you need to sell this still, and you're not selling it here.
Well, and the other thing is, there's another girl who was picked, and she looks like a cosplayer. So this is some poor girl from Tarzana, to which I said, geography is a terrible subject for me, so I don't know if this is a real place. Forgive me if it is, but I was like, that sounds made up.
Okay, so literally, I thought the exact same thing, Joe, and I was like, does she mean to say Tasmania?
Right?
No, Tarzana is a neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley region of Los Angeles.
Okay. How would we know that? All the LA listeners, so like half of our listeners are just like, fuck you, motherfuckers. Anyway, I do think that there's a good comedy bit here where it's like, oh, where did you girls come from? And Jessie says, London. And this other girl says, Tarzana. And then, obviously Lestat recognizes Jessie, and he only wants to interact with her, so he sends this other girl home. But there is this moment where she confesses, I'm Episcopalian. Well,
no, because he tells Jessie, I would have taken you for Talamasca, and that girl's reply is, well, I'm an Episcopalian.
It's very obviously a deliberate comedy beat in a film that doesn't have very many comedic, if any, comedic beats. So I appreciated it.
Like, yeah, this movie does take itself so very seriously. And it's kind of like, if you would have just embraced the camp maybe a little bit, you could have had something here,
Or just had some fun with it. It feels like nobody's having fun.
100%. Whereas in Interview with the Vampire, like, Tom Cruise is the one having fun in that movie, and you feel that.
I mean, he is feasting in that film, and everybody here is just like, oh no, we need to treat this with respect. The problem is that we did not start from a place of respect.
I will say, though, so I looked at Roger Ebert's review for this movie. He gave it a 2 out of 4, but he says, his final paragraph, the movie doesn't reach the level of camp goofiness attained by films like The Mummy Returns and Lara Croft Tomb Raider, perhaps because the filmmakers labor under the impression that Anne Rice's works must be treated respectfully. And I was like,
Ebert.
What? Like, that's
those films are terrible comparisons. They're not even in the same genre.
But that's the thing, though. Like that seems to be what like film criticism at the time when they looked at a movie like this. It was like, oh yeah, that's a dumb vampire movie. Like, it doesn't matter that it came from the highly acclaimed works of Anne Rice. Even that was viewed as like junk garbage reading, I guess, by these people.
Yeah, it's interesting because I definitely didn't have a direct relationship to Anne Rice's material. Forgive me if I said this back when we covered Interview with the Vampire all those years ago, but I always got the impression, at least from like older women in my life who didn't read it, but it was kind of a supernatural Jackie Collins. And I was like, I think at the time I just took that to mean, oh, it's slightly overwritten, you know, it's probably soapy, maybe it's a little gently pornographic, and all of those things could be true, but to deny the cultural impact of this woman, like, guess what, everybody? You don't make it to 10 plus books and a avid fan base like she has if you don't have some kind of juice.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, either way.
But we hate popular things also.
Very much so. But back to the movie, it's not campy enough.
Except for this line exchange. So when Jessie shows up, she goes, boo. And Lestat goes, boo back. Folks, this is what we're working with here. This is what we're working with.
Yeah. And we get this line from Lestat too. He's like, again, do you trust me? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, why? Why? You have met this guy once. Like, you read his journal and all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's great. I trust him.
I know him. I could, you know what, Daddy? I could fix him. Anyway, yeah, so she returns his journal. This is apparently the reason she flew across the ocean and then got hand-selected to be a fangbanger so that she could return his journal to him. And she starts to ask what life is like as a vampire. And I will confess, this is another huge problem I have with this character. So we understand that she's a member of the Talamasca. Sure, right. She's an apprentice. She maybe doesn't have full training. She hasn't spent tons of years studying with them. This idea that she just wants to become a vampire feels at odds with what she should know of vampire life. And like, she read his fucking journal. She knows how isolating it is, how sad it is, and all this other stuff. And she's still like, show me your world. I want to know what it's like. What the fuck are we talking about?
Well, and again, it's like you have this aunt who she doesn't seem to know is a vampire yet. And it's like, again, that would give her the motivation to be like, I want to find my aunt. I want to reach out to her. The only way I can is to be a vampire. I mean, again, it's one-dimensional, but it's better than what we have here, which is nothing.
Give us 2 lines. You know, I was abandoned by my aunt. I miss her. I want to know what it's like to be her, or maybe I can find her. Like, just, yeah, it could just be that simple. And we don't even give this character that level of grace. She just comes off like a fucking wannabe fangirl, and it's dumb. Yeah. Like, I don't know why we didn't stick with the Tarzana girl. Because they're on the same level. Like, they're both just idolizing Lestat for no reason.
Well, she's Episcopalian. She's not Talamasca.
Sorry. Correct, yes. Anyway, so he makes her think that he's going to bite her, and she kind of recoils, but then we just get him flying her over LA. Folks, we're going to see this in the Vampire Lestat, and special effects have come a long way, but this just also looks like a weird blurring effect. Mm-hmm. I'm choosing to read this as a sex scene because it's basically him saying, okay, I'll show you my world, but also, you know, this is us getting intimate and deepening our relationship.
It's because she cuts her boob for him to drink off of her.
Well, that's actually coming up. We have to nearly drop her off of the LA Observatory first.
Right. Oh my God.
But yes, the amount of we don't drink from necks, we drink from top boob in this movie is off the charts. And I know that there is a vein in boobs.
Okay, but
still.
She makes a light paper cut on her chest. Like, that is not going to feed this vampire.
No, because she clearly doesn't understand how he lives, or else she would have said, here, let me open a gusher for you.
I will say, though, and you'll be so proud of me, I did clock Lestat's red leather pants in these scenes.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe that's the color that Rymer was talking about.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, we do wear a lot of red clothes because, you know, constantly thinking about blood and maybe also sex. But I'm not going to lie. This is a time period where I was actively watching both Buffy and Angel, and everybody's always wearing leather pants on those shows. I was a teenager who was mistakenly led to believe that I would be wearing a lot of leather pants in my life, and I am very disappointed that I have not lived that life.
That's, yeah. I mean, I think I've worn leather pants for a Halloween costume before, and I gotta say, not comfortable.
No, they're exceedingly hot. Everybody just immediately flashed to the episode of Friends where Ross gets stuck in his, because I think that's a lot of common people's situations. Like, oh, they're really hot. They're hard to get on and off. I had a pair of pleather pants that I wore for Halloween. Those are even hotter because that synthetic shit do not breathe. Yeah, I will say, as much as I'm going to come down on Stuart Townsend in this episode, he does wear leather pants and he does show off the cum gutters very nicely.
I mean, but that's what it is, right? These people that were making this movie, maybe
base
Rymer,
level. These actors need to have hot midriffs.
Yeah, 100. They need to look good so they can sell this goddamn soundtrack.
Yeah. But really, I would have been buying the promotional tie-in clothing line. I would like to wear red leather pants. Please and thank you. Okay, so, she nicks her boob and she's like, please, I need to know everything about you. I need to know your life. So he flies her over to some random lady, scares off another vampire, and then just chows down on this poor woman and then growls at Jesse. Now you want it.
That's the thing. It's supposed to be the whole, like, you see, when you become a vampire, you have to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, like,
this is not new material, and even the most basic person knows this about vampires. She's supposed to be a Talamasca agent.
This feels at odds with the Lestat we seem to know. Maybe I'm comparing it to the interview with the vampire one, but it's like, okay, I buy Louis doing something like this, where he's like, hey, like, you don't want to be a vampire. Look what you have to do to people. And even if Lestat is like, no, I don't want to turn you for whatever fucking reason, it wouldn't be because you have to kill people, because he doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, I think, again, this is supposed to suggest that Jesse is giving him something new, something different that he hasn't experienced in all this time. Oof. But just like our conversation with Verratti on The Fan, if we're meant to believe that Jesse is this exceptional person, she's so different and unique, the movie is doing a piss poor job of selling that to us because, as I just said 2 seconds ago, she's like every other girl who just wants to fuck Lestat.
100%.
Girl, you need to get into therapy. You don't need to fuck this rocker. Okay, Trace, jump ahead 3 days. What happens in those 3 days?
I don't know.
Jesse just fucking him the whole fucking time, or what's going on? Anyway, he left her behind, so probably not. Anyway, so we are in Death Valley, and we have hundreds of thousands of people have gathered for this concert as we hear Disturbed's Down with the Sickness. This is probably one of the most famous songs on this soundtrack. I do know this one,
but I only know this because of Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
There you go. See? Your favorites, sneaking them into your soundtrack.
Always connected to movies.
Always, yeah. Okay, so this enormous crowd of people, like people are camping, people are in cars. This movie loves a crane shot. We have so many aerials.
Mm-hmm.
This crowd is massive. David has found Jesse in all of this.
In the crowd! In the crowd!
How did he find her? Even for him to have said, Talamasca agents have GPS coordinates implanted in them, or I tracked your cell phone. How did he find her?
Doesn't make any sense.
No. So he basically says, Jesse, what are you doing here? You can't. And then she's just like, I don't care. I'm pushing forward with the rest of the crowd in the mosh pit. And then Marius is there because he has also found David. This is more believable because he's a vampire, so he could probably sense him.
But this is supposed to be like something meaningful, almost as if David and Marius have a history and
they have a relationship. What is it, Trace? We don't know because the film hasn't fucking told us. We just know that David has Marius's paintings, and then Marius says, "Here, I must show you my new paintings sometime." And this is very much the end of Interview with the Vampire, where it's, "Hey, I'm gonna show up and I'm going to eat you next."
Yeah, exactly that.
But yes, I agree with you. I realize we have never seen these two characters interact on screen before. Mm-hmm. Why are they acting like they have a relationship? Oh, look, the movie has failed again.
Yep. But it's okay. We have to make space for this fucking blur effect again as Lestat floats down onto the stage with this horrendous effect.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't actually hate the blurring effect.
It's fine.
I just think it's so aggressively 2002 that it's impossible to watch nowadays and not snicker a little bit.
Yeah, because it looks like absolute horseshit, but it's fine. I hate it so much.
It's very much of a time, and we are very much past that time. But yes, so Lestat has taken the stage. We get to see that there are a ton of vampires in the crowd who are just there because they want to murder him.
Yeah, he's like, hey, dude, you're publicizing the fact that the vampires are real. We're going to kill you.
But also, you're going to attack him at a concert in front of 100,000 people, which is probably even being televised. Do you not think that that also reflects badly on the vampire code? Yeah, nobody's thought this through.
And this sequence is readapted in the Vampire Lestat much better.
Oh, so much better. Yeah, because it's actually interesting in the TV show. Folks, we're trying to sell you on it because A, the show is really good, and also because we're having a lot of fun covering it over Absolutely. On Patreon. So that Recool tier, it's going to be open back up in a couple of days. Please do sign up for it.
Please do.
Yeah. Okay, so basically we have taken the stage. We should also note, Trace, Aunt Maharat and her coven have appeared. I literally forgot she was in the movie. I wrote in my notes, oh, I think that's Lena Olin again. Who the fuck are the rest of these people?
Because she's only had the one scene in the flashback before. So I get what Rymer is saying. You know, he's saying, oh, there's too many characters. And he's really focusing on all the vampires at the end. But like, no. In general, your movie has too many characters in it.
Well, and here's the thing. You could have just had Aunt Maharat show up, and that probably would have been fine. But she's flanked by a bunch of other vampires that I think we maybe saw in that flashback, but I couldn't be certain, and I did not care enough to go back. But I will introduce them now. I've gathered these are actually all significant characters from the book, because many of them have their own hyperlinks. So we have Pandora, who is played by Pitch Black's Claudia Black. By the way, all of these people are Australian because we just cast from where we were filming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The old man is Cayman. He is played by Bruce Spence. Fun fact, one of his more famous roles is as the mouth of Sauron in The Lord of the Rings. So when that guy shows up and he's just a giant mouth and then he gets killed in front of the gates, that means nothing to you. It means something to other people.
I mean, I've definitely seen it, but I haven't seen them since theaters.
Right. Okay. And then the final character is a very baby-faced character played by sex pest Matthew Newton. He has multiple sexual assault allegations against him, so we don't like him, even though he...
Wait, I'm sorry. Who is Matthew Newton playing?
He's playing Armand, Trace. The youngest person here is playing Armand.
What?
Yep. We don't ever name him, from what I can gather. He has nothing to do in this movie.
This is news to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
What? Why? Why are you doing this? Also, aren't we now whitewashing this character?
Again, I don't know if Armand is described as a racialized character in the books. You would assume so because of how old he is.
But still, you're going from Antonio Banderas to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a baffling creative choice. I didn't realize that's who the character was until I was putting together this plot.
I had absolutely no idea. Like, the movie does not tell you that at all. And even as an Easter egg, it's stupid.
Yeah, it just doesn't work very well. And I get it. You're trying to pull from the book, so you're going to use those characters. But especially in the world of this film, A, we have not introduced these characters well, and also B, we give them fuck all to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they're there also observing this, and then people begin attacking Lestat while he's on stage. So he's rocking out, and then people start flying at him. It's very public. Marius decides he's going to jump in, so they're going to try to battle these villains off, but they quickly get overwhelmed, Trace, because there's just so many of them. Mm-hmm. And then this is when the stage explodes. And I love this because it actually does kind of look like a stage effect you would see at a big concert where the main act comes up through the floor and it's fucking Akasha.
I mean, here's the thing. It looks cool, but at the same time, I'm like, why is she coming? Did she like go under the stage and like prepare this grand entrance? Why didn't she just fly in?
She worked it out with the tech in advance. Oh, I want to keep it a big secret for Lestat. I don't want him to know I'm coming, guys. It's like when you jump out of a cake at somebody's birthday. Keep it very secret. Shh,
she's a real diva. She wanted to make an entrance.
I mean, she definitely commands the stage because anybody who tries to do anything, she just immediately immolates them.
Which, again, you're overpowering her because that...
Yeah, she's too much of a threat. Like, she seems impossible, but I mean, I guess we're meant to believe, oh, the stakes are so high. How could you possibly defeat her? Anyway, she grabs the set and she just flies away.
Yeah. And they're going to go have an affair in this, again, American Beauty style rose petal bath.
On some kind of maybe Mediterranean island. Like, did she borrow this from Marius? Is this the same location we filmed at before?
I actually thought it was, to be honest. Whether it's meant to be the same location within the film, I definitely think it's the same set behind the scenes.
Yeah. I do, just before we move on too far, when she does pop up and everybody kind of freezes, there's this moment where she just kind of looks around and hisses and all this other fun stuff. Great Aaliyah moment. One of the members, it might be Aunt Maharet or it might be Claudia Black, somebody just goes, Akasha. And I thought, oh my God, does the movie think that we're so fucking stupid that we don't know who this character is?
Also, how would this character recognize Akasha?
Well, that's the other thing. When she shows up for the fucking climax, which is so truncated and you don't even realize it's the climax until it's halfway through, we're meant to believe that Aunt Maharat and Akasha have a relationship. They know each other because they recognize each other. And you're like, again, I don't know why these people know each other.
I think you're right, because I think Akasha made Maharet, didn't she?
I couldn't tell you, Trace.
Yeah, because all I know is that basically Maharet had a daughter before she was turned, maybe by Akasha, maybe not, and that's
how we get Jessie.
So Jessie is like, you know, her great granddaughter, whatever the fuck, and so that's why she's been so tied to humanity for all these years, because she had. And I'm like, is she like the only vampire out there that had a kid before she was turned?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of that backstory was, I'm going to keep an eye on you. I'll always sort of look out for you, which is why I guess she shows up at this Lestat concert. But part of me was like, oh, I guess he didn't feel too bad about just kicking her out and then letting her move to London to join the Talamasca.
And had no contact with her since she was a 6-year-old orphan.
Maybe that's the other reason why Jessie and Lestat share a connection, is because they were both really abandoned by their families. They were orphaned and left to fend for themselves.
I actually think you're spot on, but that connection is not made clear. I mean, it's there. It is there, but the movie does nothing to point you towards it.
No, and it doesn't even make a big deal out of it, right? Like, you could very easily say this is part of the power of these two, but they're just like, no, fuck eyes at you. Okay.
But if it's like they're two wayward souls who are still reeling from the abandonment of their parent figures, it's like, look, that's kind of boring, but it makes sense.
Okay, question for you, because I don't have this on physical media. Do you know if there are deleted scenes? Because that's the other thing, is this feels like it got a bit of a hack job in order to bring it down to a running time that a studio says, we can make money off of this. And it feels like there are scenes missing that I wonder if some of our complaints are addressed in things that hit the cutting room floor.
It looks like there are 13 deleted scenes on this Blu-ray. I will confess, I did not watch these, but...
Okay.
Okay, wait. I am looking at Blu-ray.com's review of this Blu-ray, and they have a blurb next to each of these scenes. So, we have band backstage, unnecessary.
No.
LA mansion and extended flying sequence, appropriately trimmed.
Okay.
Jessie visits the Admiral's arms, atmospheric but disposable.
Okay.
Marius talks, rightly trimmed for pacing. Right. Original Jessie's dream, a more elaborate and ambiguous version. Original opening, busy and less effective.
Okay.
The Ancients rise. The ancient vampires hear Lestat's call to his concert. Shit, maybe that's...
come on. That might have been helpful.
Yeah, but that's... when I read that, I thought it was, that's Akasha, but no, it's these other ancient vampires.
Maharat and her coven,
Groupies, an extension of the early scene with the two blonde groupies.
No, we don't need that.
Jessie on a plane. Jessie dreams of Akasha while flying to LA.
Oh, that could have been interesting. And also more screen time for fucking Aaliyah.
Jessie's farewell note. The scene would have been in a subplot that was dropped. The band. This is just performance footage that's 2 minutes long.
No.
Oh, here we go. Akasha dances, a longer version of Akasha's big entrance. I'm assuming she would have been, I guess, dancing at the club before she kills all those vampires.
Yeah, it could have been fun, but I feel like we get what we need from that scene.
And here we go. Okay, the last one. Ancients at Hollywood sign. This is a 3-minute scene. It says, the film's conclusion would have made much more sense with the inclusion of this scene, but it would have meant retaining yet another chunk of dialogue devoted to exposition.
Oh no, I hate exposition. Yeah, definitely get that out of my action film.
So basically, it doesn't sound like there's anything really meaty in these deleted scenes.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
No.
Okay, so we are with Akasha and Lestat. They have flown to this private secluded place. He basically is trying to get a read on what is it that she wants. So we do a little biting. We do a little fuck play in, yes, the American Beauty rose petal bath. And then when he wakes up in the morning, he realizes, ooh, I can walk out in the sun because I drank her blood. And she's like, cool, we should just eat everything. And he says, is this the only reason you kind of came back? And she's like, yeah, I just want power. I want to be worshipped. The two of us should do this together. And that's about it. You in?
That's kind of the thing too. Again, I really can't wait to read Queen of the Damned because I want to know how Akasha is characterized, because she's not really characterized in this movie very much. But her motivation is just your standard, like almost like a Bond villain, where it's like, I just want to take over the world because I can.
Because I used to be a god and I've been away for too long and now people should worship me like a god.
But I don't even think she wants to be worshipped, though, because she's like, oh, vampires are food. Humans are food. I think she just wants to be alone, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I did see a couple of people say, so how is she going to survive if she just kills everybody off? I mean, you do kind of need a food supply.
This is why Blade Trinity is important with that human blood bag farm.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Needless to say, this is intriguing to Lestat, but we can clearly see that it's not fully sitting well with him. Meanwhile, we have Jessie, because she got left behind at the concert, so she has reconnected with Aunt Maharat in the Mojave Desert, and this is just... Honestly, I know I said I want a bit more exposition and I want more character work, but this is just her and Aunt Maharat looking at the family tree on this wall, and... Dude. I was like, I wrote in my notes, it's all meh.
Yeah. Well, there aren't even pictures. It's just like fucking like pieces of paper pinned to a wall.
It truly looks like the set designers or maybe the set decorators said, we're going to take a long lunch, but we left you a bunch of Post-it notes that you can use. You know, think about if you want art, if you want images of people or something, and they just shot the scene while they were gone.
Yeah. And this is also the scene where they formulate their plan. Their plan is that they are going to drain Akasha completely as a group, but someone will have to sacrifice themselves because whoever takes the last of Akasha's blood will not survive.
Last fucking drop nonsense again.
But immediately I'm like, okay, but we've already established that Akasha can light you all up by just raising her hand. So how are you going to get around that? And the answer is not very well.
Well, the answer is they need Lestat, but they have not actually communicated any of this plan to him. So good thing he's just on board with them when it happens. Oh, by the way, Trace, the moment that you just talked about, it's here. It's the fucking climax because it's happening right now.
I thought for sure we still had 20 minutes to go before the end of the movie. And so I'm like, okay, Akasha comes in. It's the first meeting of her and all these ancient vampires, whatever. This is the first big thing. And then we're going to get a big climactic battle later. No, this is it.
Yeah. So I should note, since I've been keeping track of some of the costumes, the ones that don't work, the ones that do work, this is Akasha in her most Egyptian coded outfit. I will say, I'll give credit to another website that I found a very funny review at called Defenestration. So Genevieve is the author of this piece, and she basically reads Aaliyah or Akasha as dressed for fetish night at the Egyptian Appreciation Society. But folks, if you haven't seen it, it's basically this white linen dress, but then she's got a bronze bust plate. And here's the thing. I find Genevieve's description of it very funny, but I think this outfit is amazing. I think Aaliyah looks great. Yeah. It allows her to move. It's got a flow to it. And I mean, she's showing a lot of skin. Yeah. It's great.
It's really good. She looks great. I mean, yeah, she does have that great physicality to her performance. You know, where the writing does fail this character as well as it fails many characters in this movie. Aaliyah does have that presence, I think. Like she has an imposing presence, and it really works. And then you're just wondering, why didn't you have her in this movie more? I don't get it.
Yeah, we've asked this a couple of times where somebody really pops on screen and you have to wonder if somebody just was not watching the dailies or we couldn't afford to extend or something. But like, I don't know how you don't see this performance and say, we need more of her in this movie.
And I'm not trying to say that this is a fantastic performance because, again, I think that she is limited by the screenplay.
It's a fantastic physical performance, I would say.
Yeah. But I would say, okay, well, maybe they didn't do it because, they're in production. What are they going to do? But we already know that Rymer and what's-his-face were fucking writing the shit up to the production. So it's like, just write her a scene.
Well, and he put her through the ringer, as you said earlier.
Yes!
He made her do all of these things to prove her devotion to playing the part. That should have given you a sense of what she was capable of. So why aren't you giving her more opportunities to shine when you're actually filming the damn movie?
And it would be something if her death were fucking awesome. But it's not.
Boy, no. Before we move on, I do want to note that Lestat is still just wearing leather pants. He swapped out the red ones. He's now wearing traditional black. But I like that we zhuzhed them up with a little bit of fringe on the belt here.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
It's just like we put little accent notes on your belt loops.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so yes, we've come to understand that Akasha has some kind of relationship with Aunt Maharat. And Maharat says, you don't need to do any of this. Like, I know that you have been away for a while, but we coexist peacefully. We found a way to make it work with the humans. This is Akasha saying, no, you can either join me or you can die, but it's only going to go my way. And no one takes her up on the offer. So she's like, you can join me or die. And everybody's like, no, we're good. Thank you.
Also, I do have confirmation that Akasha did make Maharet, because in my notes I have Maharet tells Jesse that she was once mortal and bore a child before Akasha took her.
There we go. Okay. So that clarifies that. Thank you. This is when Akasha demands a pledge of loyalty. Show me that you love me, Lestat. Show me that you're going to be my king. I want you to kill Jesse, because once again, Jesse is apparently the most important person this movie has ever met.
I was literally like, why are you going to ask him to kill the least threatening person in this room?
Yeah. Even something like, I can read your mind and I know that you're thinking of her, or I smelled her on you, or...
But that's the problem. I think this is actually a character assassination of sorts of Akasha, because it just paints her then as a jealous
petty
girlfriend.
Yeah, ooh, that's your ex? You get rid of her. I'm your girl now.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Anyway, so he decides, okay, obviously I'm going to follow through on this. And Jesse, God, because she's so weak sauce, is like, it's okay. You can do it. I'm ready.
It's so boring.
Anyway, so he bites her on the upper boob again and apparently sucks her dry. And we all totally believe that he's killed her and she's dead, right, Trace? She's totally dead, right?
And then we get this touch of the family tree installment start to bleed as she's getting drained. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it looks cool, I guess.
Sure. Anyway, so Lestat demands payment for performing this, so he feeds on Akasha, and then she commands him to stop, and he doesn't stop sucking. And folks, do you remember from literally 60 seconds ago when we said she's only vulnerable when she's being fed on? So everybody starts jumping at her, but they take so long to jump into action. So I want to say 3 red shirts go up in flames because they're just putzing around on the fringes.
If she is only vulnerable when she is being fed on, why is she allowing Lestat to feed off of her in front of a room full of people that she knows are plotting to kill her?
Yeah, it's very bizarre. And this suggestion that she is so powerful up until this point, she can't flick Lestat off like she does. She ends up throwing him into the wall, but it takes her forever to respond to this. And she knows these people are coming for her because she's also immolating the people who are taking their time. Anyway, a bunch of them jump on her and they just start sucking her dry. She beats off a couple of, she whacks off, No, she gets rid of a couple of them, and then they do manage to overpower her.
It's so funny, though, because I kept trying to figure out why the blonde boy with the long hair didn't die in this moment, because I was like, how does he not die? And it's because he's Armand! Armand!
Do you mean Armand? Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck are we doing?
Now it makes sense. Kind of.
Yeah. So enough of them have managed to get to her that she is totally weakened. She is basically down for the count. So we just have to decide who is going to take the last drop. It's not going to be Lestat. Mahara decides, oh, sure, I'll take this bullet.
Okay, why? She doesn't know Lestat. Why is she's like, yeah, go do it. Why does she sacrifice herself to save Lestat? Presumably because her great ancestor Jesse loves Lestat and maybe she senses that, but
yeah,
whatever. And then she does it and she gets marbleized.
Which, okay, we should note, so we don't actually see Aunt Maharat turn to stone. It's like somebody walks in front of the camera, blocks it, and then when we see her again, she's white marble. Yeah. Yay. I do want to say, when we see Akasha start to turn to stone, it's a cool slow-mo 360 camera around her. It's very Matrix-y. She's basically bullet timing, but I kind of really like the look of this effect until she disintegrates, and then it looks like cheesy nonsense from 2002. But
yeah,
transforming her black, I thought actually was a pretty cool effect.
Oh, absolutely. But again, my first time watching this, I was like, wait,
That's
she
it.
done? That's it?
That's
She's done? She's dead? Oh, that was pretty easy.
You fully expect we're going to get some wire fu, big extended battle sequence. People are going to get thrown through walls. And the closest we get is Lestat being flicked. And that's it.
Yeah, it
is so
really
underwhelming.
Like, it feels like everyone was like, we just want to be done with this, y'all. Like, let's just wrap this up.
Yeah, we're filming sequentially. This is the end of the road. Let's just do it. Call lunch. Let's be done with it.
Boy.
Yeah, it is thankless. And it's just so muted. And it feels like we built this character up to be such a huge foe. And then she's just done.
Yeah, that's it.
It's wild. Wild.
Yeah.
Also, because the movie thinks we're super fucking stupid, when we see Maharat turn to stone, we have Armand say, she drank Akasha's last drop. Shut the
Sherlock.
fuck up, movie. I actually did put no shit in my notes. Good call. Good call. And then just because we don't want to feel too sad about this development, Marius says, she's not dead. She sleeps. And it's like, yeah, we know. We saw the first part of the movie when Akasha woke up.
So if Maharet wakes up again from whatever music we have 300 years in the future, is Akasha part of her now? Or is she going to wake up and be fine and not want to take over the world? It's like, why not just wake her up now?
Yeah, maybe it's one of those things where, I mean, going back to Underworld, maybe people have to sleep for a designated period of time before you kind of wake them up. Oh, it hasn't been 100 years. I'm Bill Nighy. I'm really mad at you.
See, that movie has pretty good lore.
It has better lore.
It has
lore that it explains to us.
I mean, admittedly, though, I do think that movie probably does explain too much, hence the 2+ hour runtime. But
yeah,
at least it's pretty.
Yeah. Because remember when that blonde bitch shows up on the train and then we kill her and you're just like, oh, wasn't she supposed to be important?
Yeah, she's like one of the elders and we just kill her. She has not a single line of dialogue before she gets killed.
Just a werewolf mauls her and she's done. Yeah, good times, good times. Anyway, hey, we can still save Jessie. So Lestat just goes over, feeds her some blood. Yay, the day is saved. And then we get to see Vampire Jessie and Lestat. They're back in London. They stop by to visit David. She offers to turn him, and we can tell she's a vampire because A, she doesn't look as blushy, but also, yeah, she's got her teeth, but she's all sexy, seductive, like, hey, I could turn you. And he says, no, I'm too old because I'm clearly over the age of 40.
Yeah. Which I'm like, because that's the other thing too. I was like, oh, see, if I was going to be turned into a vampire, I want to get in shape. Unless it's one of those things where when you turn into a vampire, it automatically puts you in shape.
Yeah, you just immediately get rock hard 12-pack like Lestat apparently.
I feel like there is a movie where that's what happens, but I'm like, no, but I feel like most time it's like, no, however you look when you're turned, that's how you are when you're a vampire. So I'm like, ooh, I'm like, can you give me like a couple months to do some workouts?
Let me hit the gym. Let me start eating a little healthier. You know what? I'm gonna change. I'm gonna start eating more greens. Gonna have some smoothies. Yeah, come back in 6 weeks.
I need the elixir from Death Becomes Her. I don't want to be a vampire. I need the Death Becomes Her elixir because then my tits can get pushed up.
Oh my god. You know what? Just do the work. Do the work in real life. You'll feel better for it.
If a potion does it for me, why wouldn't I choose to do that?
Lazy.
Exactly. And I can stay lazy in immortality.
There you go. Yeah. So David turns them down, says, no, it's okay, I'm not interested. This scene doesn't even make sense. Why do we care about offering David immortality?
It makes no
If anything, it should be like, hey, thanks for trying to warn me. I'm good now. You don't have to worry about me, or just some kind of nonsense like that.
The only thing I can think of is because David Talbot does play a bigger role in those books, that maybe they were like, oh, if we do a sequel, this character is going to return.
Yeah, I could believe that. Yep.
But that being said, it makes no sense in the movie we just watched because David, his presence is non-existent. I mean, what have we seen from this character? What do we know about this character?
Yeah, Trace, tell me one thing that you know about David Talbot in this movie.
He's Talamasca.
He's Talamasca. Yeah,
he's not Episcopalian.
I mean, not that we know of.
Not that we don't know. He could be. I don't know.
Anyway, so they leave, and we see Marius turn up, presumably so that he can fuck him up. And again, this is really just the end of Interview with the Vampire all over again. So, blah. And then the movie ends with Lestat and Jesse walking towards Big Ben because we're in London. So we got to use a very significant piece of architecture so that everybody knows. And I kind of like this, they're moving in slow motion and the world is moving super fast beyond them. But again, it's just music video visual aesthetics.
It is. And I'm also just like, that's Lestat's ending. He just go be with Jesse like for the rest of his immortal afterlife, which again,
right.
Apparently he doesn't interact with this character much in the book. So I'm just like, we just really had to like straight wash this thing.
Yeah. Get the gay out, get hot girl with the abs in, and walk them off down the street. Cool.
Yeah.
Super satisfying.
I mean, again, we have critiqued the fuck out of this movie. We've
trashed this movie. Here's the thing. It's so short, and the people are very pretty, and the sequences are ridiculous, so it is actually very watchable. It's just not good.
Yeah. Watchable, but bad. There you go.
Yeah. But also, I would say, if that sounds like your jam, there's probably other films that are better versions of watchable but not good. Like, you could do better. You probably don't need to sink to this level unless you want to watch for Aaliyah, but also 15 minutes.
Or if you're really into the soundtrack. I mean, I could say if you're really into the sound, but then I'm like, well, just pop the CD in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Hit Korn all day.
Korn, such a gross word. But yeah, everyone, that is Queen of the Damned. I don't know, let us know what you thought. And of course, tune in to that aforementioned requel tier coverage of AMC's The Vampire Lestat Season 1 because, we're going to treat it as a new show.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, so before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers, or shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. That link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, including ad-free main feed episodes, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 489 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 3, Episodes 5 and 6, Backrooms, Passenger, Leviticus, a brand new audio commentary on the original Scary Movie, and, as we've already said many times in this episode, the return of our requel tier as we begin coverage of The Vampire Lestat.
Yeah, good stuff.
Joe, what are we talking about next week?
Oh boy, we are shifting gears dramatically to talk about something I never anticipated we would ever discuss on this podcast. I'm curious to see if people take us to task because I don't think this is conventionally considered a horror film, but Gina Radcliffe and Patrick Hamilton of Kill by Kill definitely talked it up when we last spoke with them. So we're going to celebrate 30 years of The Cable Guy.
The Cable Guy. Yeah, I definitely seen this as a kid. The only thing I remember is that it is a very dark movie.
Yes.
Which didn't work well when it came out, but I think it developed one of those cult followings.
Yeah, and folks, we're not going to try to pretend like it's a horror film, but we are going to look at the relationship between Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey as queer tinged. But yeah, I'm interested to check this out. This will be a first time watch for me, Trace.
I mean, I couldn't tell you a single thing I remember about this movie, so it might as well be a first time watch for me. But I gotta say, Patrick and Gina had me very intrigued.
Yeah, so we will see what all of the fuss is about when we come back for that.
Indeed. But until next week, we can cross out Queen of the Damned.
Not the Queen
Not
of
the.
Damned. Indeed. And cross out horror queers.